3 days. It's been 3 days, and I've gotten almost no information. People in this hellhole barely speak to me as it is, but when I mention the witch doctor, it's like I've sucked all the hope out of their very existence. What little hope they even have. That's not what they bargained for, is it? You promised them so much more, didn't you, dear doctor? You delivered. Boy, did you deliver. For years, they had it all. And now? Now this place might have been 1 or 2 years left before it eats itself alive. But that's how you operate. On the Nerdy 30s. Dun, dun, dun!
Oh my gosh, that was the best segue.
I know. Segues are like my thing. I am Travis Harrison.
I'm Erin Naomi.
And welcome to the Nerdy 30s, the podcast that proves that you don't have to give up things that you love at a certain age. And today, we have special guests, you guys.
Yes, we do. So today we have the comic book creator, Brian Rodman, with us. And his wife and business partner, Robyn Rodman. It's very...
Yay!
It is.
It sounds like I need to host a radio
It's very
show.
news anchor.
Like
Yeah.
I do like it.
I like
I got
it a
very
lot.
upset when my sister pointed out when we were dating that that's what my name would be.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That's such
But
a
not,
good name.
you know, now I've
think
embraced
it's
it.
cute.
You
It's a
know,
TV
like,
name.
Yeah, I feel
It
like
is.
it's, I don't know,
She's
like
like
I
an
need my
anchor
own
woman.
show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
Maybe-
tonight on the news with Robyn Rodman.
exactly.
I like that.
See?
I'd watch it.
I would too.
I would. I totally would. So, Brian, why don't you tell us about Memoirs of an Angel?
And that's where that little monologue was from, by the way.
Yeah, just so you guys know, it was intense
Which-
and awesome.
It was awesome. It was so cool.
Hey!
like that. That's great. Well, the series is about spiritual warfare. So, there's essentially two realms. There's the physical realm and then the spiritual realm. And they intertwine, even though the physical realm really has no idea what's going on behind that curtain. So that's what this whole series is about.
Nice.
And in issue 1, we're introduced to the main human character, and something terrible happened to him in his past. And so now he's been on this 6-year quest for revenge against Atrulia, the
Evil
witch doctor,
Yeah.
who is a part of the last coven of the world, essentially. And so he meets up with her in issue 1, and crazy things happen, and we go from there.
Interesting.
So, yes.
So, is the witch doctor an actual metaphor for the evils that you meet in your real life?
She is not necessarily. She's more
She's
of
just a witcher.
there are other demons and cosmic beings that do come out, and that they're very much that.
Nice.
And they're more behind the scenes, the real enemy of the story. She is not so much the real enemy of the story, more of just a pawn, kind of a puppet for them.
Interesting.
Yes.
So, is there
And, you
some...
know, eye candy.
Oh.
Oh yeah, because she's real attractive.
Hold on. I
Yeah.
gotta... She's in issue 1. Where is it? I gotta look this up. I'm gonna check this chick.
She's going to pause
Yeah.
because she wants to look at it. Let me see.
Yes, very soon.
Yes, holding her severed head.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of
There's
like it.
nothing hotter.
It reminds me of. It reminds me of. Have you seen American Horror Story? Roanoke.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, Lady Gaga plays a role that's like a witch, like that's all disheveled like that. It reminds me of that, and I like it.
Well, if it ever becomes a movie or TV show, I'm going after her. Then.
Yeah, she would do it.
Like, hey,
She
you come
loves
play
to
this
be
part.
ugly
The
sometimes.
witch doctor, please. She would actually be really
She
good
would
at that.
write like your whole
Yeah.
soundtrack for you.
I'd be cool with that. That'd be fun.
Do
I
it.
just want to be a witch, you guys.
You should call her. I have her number. I'll give it to you. I don't actually have it.
Because I would be like fangirling all the time. I'd be like,
You would. You
Can
wouldn't,
you
even
get-
be able, you wouldn't be able to
get
handle
Gaga
it.
on the podcast, and I would like be in the corner just crying.
I would love it. I'd be like,
Come back and talk to me. I can't.
Yeah.
knowing her though, she'd like go and sit next to you and be like, "It's okay."
I know. She'd be like, "Oh, a gay," and then she would hug me. And that's how it
like,
works.
I love my games. That's exactly what she would do. You know she would. She would. Like, and I mean, like, she's one of those very spiritual people, and she's, Catholic and all that, and she'd be good with it. I mean, she'd be like, spiritual warfare, totally into it.
I'm down with that.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of casting the movie for him, and I kind of like to ask creators this. Like,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Do
have
it.
you actually, like, if this was sold as a movie or a TV show, have you, like, thought of people that you would want?
Absolutely, I have.
Ooh.
Yes. So Jonathan, I would actually go after Jason Momoa.
I know that name.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Aquaman?
And
Oh.
Khal Drogo.
Yeah, in
Okay.
Game of Thrones.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry, everyone.
she's scared to watch it. I don't.
You
I
haven't watched it
I
either.
haven't watched
Don't
it,
you
but
throw
like,
me
but
under
like
the
we've had
bus.
conversations
I only
about
watched,
it.
like the first season. It got a little too much for me. So I was like,
The first episode, I turned it on, and then someone's penis got cut off, and I was like,
yeah,
Sounds like a laugh, right?
it's a great show.
Well, no, like I was saying,
absolutely frightening.
we were talking about this, and you're like, I don't want to watch it because there's like 90 rapes an episode, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
That's
Yeah.
actually why I
I came in
stopped.
the middle of an
I couldn't-
episode,
yeah.
somebody got raped, and I was done with that.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
story is excellent. I keep up with highlights of the show because I
Yeah.
probably won't ever watch it, so I just want to know spoilers. The story is great, but there's too much rape for me.
Yeah.
I can't watch that stuff.
Yeah, I can't do it either. Like, if I even see a rape scene in a show, I'm always just kind of like, I'm gonna take a step
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You guys can watch it. I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah.
It's great.
So, in a totally natural and not at all repeated way, for any reason, because
Not
our
even.
computer crashed and ruined half of the podcast.
Nothing happened.
Nothing
I don't
happened
know
at
what
all.
you're talking about.
Robyn mentioned that they were writing a theme song, and then they were about to explain. They didn't explain. They're about to.
They were about to. We
So-
don't know anything about this theme song.
Not at all. So go ahead and explain this theme song and why you're writing it.
So in a natural way, I'm going to say this that I haven't said
Not at all.
ever
Not at all.
before.
I have no idea what you're going to talk about.
So our buddy is writing a theme song, and it's actually really good. He's amazing, but we're doing the theme song because it's going to be the theme song for the video of our Kickstarter that is coming out next June, and it's going to be the first 4 issues in a trade paperback, 120 pages.
Nice.
And it's essentially just taking, because the first 3 issues are in black and white currently.
Right.
And I'm going through redoing some of the artwork, but adding color to all of it.
Yeah.
And just kind of giving it a fresh look.
Now, I did notice that all of them are in black and white. We've never talked about this before.
Not at all.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Natural
But,
progression of conversation.
Natural progression. I did notice that they're all in black and white, and so it was like a conscious money decision to keep them black and white.
Mostly it's a darker tone. The book is, for mature readers, and so I wanted to play with the black and white, but it was like color is a little more pricey than black and white.
Heck
so
yeah, it is.
that was, the initial, okay, I can't afford this, so I'm just going to make this work.
Yeah. And it does work.
Yeah.
And it fits so well. We actually have had a couple of people be like, "Oh, I kind of wish you would stick with the black and white," and then we show them the color, and they're like, "No, okay, yeah, that's cool."
Well, you had actually, I mean,
Never
you never
mentioned
mentioned
the
this
whole-
before. Well, Robyn had actually brought up in a secret conversation that
was not recorded. Seriously, it wasn't.
that they were actually going to incorporate this new color scheme in an interesting way. What were you saying before?
We had thrown around the idea of doing it so where the physical world was in black and white and the spiritual world was in color.
Yeah.
Just to kind of show the separation, but then kind of the way they interplay. We thought it would be fun. But
Cool.
Yeah. And so what I'll probably end up doing, I've kicked around the idea, but I'll probably make the tones of the color a lot brighter for the spiritual realm. That way you can tell a difference between the two, and that way that point can still get across.
Because the real world is hard. It's hard to live in.
You never said
I
that.
never made that joke before. I totally just came up with that now.
Travis should be in it.
Yeah, I should draw you. You should be the guy that breaks the fourth wall that comes out.
Totally.
I love that this is all just private joke now.
I know.
All the listeners are like, what is
So,
happening?
yeah, the computer crashed and ate half our podcast. So
Which is rude.
now we have a bunch of inside jokes.
I actually think it was my cat, because my cat jumped up on the table and was like, "Hey guys, why don't you love me?" and like knocked the microphone over.
Well, it was very like he wanted the microphone to pet him. He was
did.
like, "Pet me now."
Yeah, just like
He
that.
did. I mean, he's a
We all just love that.
he's a beautiful Maine Coon kitty. I mean, that's what it is. Because your book is all about like the spirit realm being like, heck no, you're not going to do good stuff. Get out of here.
I've tapped into something.
You
Oh
are. That's what it is. They were like, I'm going to use your cat fry.
no! Yeah.
We're gonna stop this good thing from happening right now.
It's never going to happen. As I say it.
I
Oh,
hope
man.
that there's somewhere. This is a weird statement. I hope there's a tiny demon somewhere that sounds just like that.
I will stop this now. I will stop it. I hope it's
You know
not
what that-
in my house.
Right? Yeah, far away, far away.
right.
Saying about
here.
talking about something else completely.
I'm going to have to sage the crap out of my house now.
Now all I can picture you as is like that little fear demon from Buffy on the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, "You will bow before me," but he's like too.
Is that the
inches
one that
tall.
like eats the flesh of Willow? Am I correct?
No,
here?
no, I'm talking
Which
about.
one's that one?
I don't know if you guys watch Buffy, but it's
been a while, buddy.
This is we're take your drinks now, guys, because
We're talking
like,
about Buffy.
we accidentally talk about Buffy every episode. But like, there's this Halloween episode where there's like a little, like, there's a demon that makes all the Halloween decorations like come to life. In
Oh,
this
yeah!
frat house.
Yeah, where
And they summon-
Xander's an army guy and...
Well, no, that's the Halloween episode.
How many episodes do they make Halloween come to life?
There's
seriously.
the one where their costumes come to life, and then there's one where they go to that frat party with the haunted house where all the decorations come to
Oh,
life.
and then Buffy and Riley are just doing it the whole time?
No,
that
that's a different episode.
I'm so confused.
I'm a Buffy encyclopedia.
Please explain more.
No, it's the Halloween episode where and they finally get the demon out, and they're like, "Oh, I thought he'd be bigger because he's like 2 inches tall," and they're like looking down.
And then
at
they
him.
step on him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Fear me, I am great and powerful," and they're like, "Oh, he's cute." So that's what it reminded me of. That little voice.
Can you put him in your books as well?
Wait, it's a copyright.
I'll make my own. You know, I'll make my own little.
Your
tiny
little,
He's like
little
the most
demon guy.
powerful demon.
I was actually told at one point when I was younger that if I do a certain face, I can look like Chucky.
that's terrifying.
The scary doll.
I don't know. Have you seen the new Chucky movies? Because he looks like he got full on Botox now.
What?
He did. He's all high and tight now.
You know, it's just like his face is all pulled back, and he's got the duck lips like they do. Like
I mean,
when
that
you
is
get a lot of plastic
frightening.
surgery.
He is plastic. And he
Yes.
is getting older.
Plastic and fast. Well, he
What
did
kind
have.
of doctor would you go to for that?
I don't. A dollologist.
I like it.
I don't know. He would have to have plastic surgery though, because his face was all cut up before. And now he's
No,
like,
maybe that's what
the-
it is.
Very
like,
much so for like 3 movies.
I need a lift.
That's what it is. He went to a dollologist.
He's like,
And
this
got his
isn't
face
working for me. I need something.
Tiffany
new."
referred me.
Maybe it went to the
Great
guy
doctor.
who fixed up Woody in Toy Story.
Oh, there it is. Let's say that's the story. I like that.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
What if Chucky was there
the whole time in
in
the
Toy
shadows.
Story?
Oh my God! The little kid's name is Andy in both of them.
Oh.
And he did have that creepy, like, doll head on a robot spider body thing.
Nope,
Or that
that's
was
Sid.
Sid.
Yeah.
Sid had that, but it was there.
But Woody was
Maybe
around
Sid
it.
had.
Yeah,
Do you think Sid,
Sid
had Chucky?
Oh.
there it is.
Oh.
And then
Fan
Chucky
theory.
came over to
Oh.
Andy's house and was like, I'm going to wreak havoc on all your little happy toys.
He's
Yeah.
like, "Happy birthday, Andy! I got this toy for you.
Oh,
Have
God.
fun."
When a toy is too much
Enjoy.
for Sid, you know to just say no.
That's so true. We have been chosen. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, we should
I go on to a better place.
We should probably get back to the book. So, we'll give up on the joke now. We did ask about the plot before, and like some plot points, like your main character
Yeah.
having connections to the spiritual world. And
But
visions
tell
and
us
stuff.
again because it was cool.
As if you never have before.
Yeah,
All right.
so be really interesting and you can dance while you want to as well.
Yeah.
See, he's doing it.
Yep.
If only we
You
were-
can't
were
see me,
video.
but I'm
If you
dancing.
could see it,
It's like a John
It's
T.
very underwhelming.
it's like an Irish jig sitting down.
That could be his dance to our thing. We used to do this
Can
thing.
we call this podcast the Irish jig sitting down?
Irish jig sitting down. Yeah, we're henceforth we're the Irish jig sitting down.
I
featuring Erin and Travis. No, I remember the thing, the little dance thing we used to do in high school to the Killers, where we just all do like a lazy dance.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That could be his dance.
Oh, yeah, it's mine.
That's your dance.
Mine is the lazy disco, and it's this. It's just
Yeah.
I
What's
don't
like
remember
Goofy
what mine
movie?
was. Mine was like
Bigfoot. When...
yeah. Yours was this. You look like you're having a seizure.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And my cell phone ringer was that.
the seizure.
I was like, it's a seizure, guys. Yeah, but that was my cell phone ringer. So anytime somebody would call, we'd all be like, here we go. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
But tell us about, the whole Memoirs of an Angel. How'd you come up with it? All that stuff.
Okay. Well. Ooh, that's a lot.
I know. Well, where did the origin story come from? Like, what was it that made you think, I should make something
Yeah,
out
because
of
you didn't
this?
mention, or did he?
He didn't mention anything. So go right
About
ahead.
your past, at the Bible college and everything. Right?
Yeah. So, I went to Bible college, and everybody was all like, "We're going to be pastors." And
Right.
I'm like, "I'm going to draw comics." and
Exactly.
This is going to be great. So I just kind of used a lot of that knowledge that I gained, and this was the passion that I've had my entire life. I love comics, always have. Love movies, and I love storytelling. So, instead of going that route, I really wanted to just kind of, talk about my faith and talk about what I found to be the most important thing through a means that no one really does, or at least does very well, and so, I was a senior in high school, junior in high school, and I saw Blade 2 in theaters.
That was good.
And absolutely love that character. He's my favorite Marvel character. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be really cool if there was like a guy who could, go back and forth in between realms, and like he was essentially the blade of the angels and demons realm. And that's not what this is at all. But it's like it's not. But that's where it's
Blade.
Right, yeah. It's Blade. He was literally Blade as a guy who fought demons instead of vampires. And it went from there to this huge epic 4-book, multiple volume in each book story.
Yeah.
And the bigger picture is it follows Jonathan through the entire thing. But they're in book 1 it's mostly his story. Book 2 it's 4 volumes in book 2. So it's going to go back to like Old Testament stuff and tell that whole thing through the angels and demons perspective.
Okay, so all of the stories that we're going to be seeing are actual things that happen in the Bible, but through the angel's eyes.
Eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, book
That's
1,
really
so
neat.
the first 8 issues
Book one's complete
is
fiction.
not going to be
Well, you have to set up the story.
right, yeah.
Book 1.
It's introduction to all the characters and everything, and then of course we'll get more characters as the story goes, but it's the foundation that the rest of it's, going to go off on.
Now, I want to say something to you.
Okay.
Because you were saying that, like, they all wanted to be pastors, but I want to write stories. If you think about it, all the people that were around Jesus, that's what they did.
Oh, yeah.
They wrote stories.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying.
We're not going to be cool saviors. We're going to just write stories.
It's essentially like,
Well, if you think about it, they are saving people because people read it.
Yeah.
So, them sharing the story brought people to it, so...
that's what a pastor is doing, in a sense, is storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's just a completely different
Yeah.
way of doing that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like it.
Thanks.
I like it a lot. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, I say. Hold on. We talked about other things, too.
Yeah.
What all did we talk about? There were so many. I remember.
What?
Now, in your comic book, you have, like, a really gothic style about it.
Yeah.
Was it easier to take a lot of your religious references and kind of incorporate them into the gothic style?
Yes. And a lot of times, especially with the angels, whenever people see them in the Bible, which we have never talked about this before.
I don't know what he's going to say.
And in the Bible, when people see angels, they freak out, and the angels have to say, "Don't be afraid." And a lot of times
on a foghorn, just, don't be afraid. I'm a spinning chainsaw with wings. And
I'm nice.
I promise, I'm just misunderstood. That's it.
It's like Beauty and the Beast.
Exactly.
A little old lady comes to the house too, like a little 12-year-old. And she's like, let me in and help me.
But she's really an evil witch.
She was actually evil.
Yeah, she actually wasn't so nice.
Yeah. You're talking to strangers? You should talk to strangers. I'm going to curse your entire house.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to murder them if you don't
man.
figure out what's happening or get someone to love you by 17. Dang.
That's harsh.
It is harsh. It's super harsh. I don't know how to feel about that. So tell us about John, the main character. What's his main motivations? What's he like?
Well, right now he is, like I said before, he's in a really selfish place. Some terrible things happened to him in his past, which that will be revealed eventually.
Murder?
No, maybe, perhaps,
Abuse?
perhaps. But he is not. He is not the hero of the story at all.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, but he is the main human character. So he's done some not so nice things, and also some not so nice things have been done to him. So it's more. It's not so
like
much
the anti-hero kind of a thing.
a little bit. Yeah. He starts off there, and then there's the meat of the story is who he is supposed to or going to become.
Okay.
So it's more about him being used to be a hero in spite of himself.
Yeah.
As opposed to him being so great.
Yeah.
Himself.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. So he doesn't start off as the hero at all.
Yeah.
It's almost like taking a villain and
putting him in a hero situation.
Potentially. Yeah.
Cool.
We always like that anyway.
I know, we do love
We
that.
usually gravitate towards the bad boys that are like,
Yeah.
I'm evil, but maybe I'm not.
I'm gonna try and be good. I'm gonna try and be good for you. I do it all the time. When I get like Spike, I'm like, oh, he wants
Spike.
to be good for Buffy.
Yeah.
Or Loki.
He's actually. I met him.
I met him too.
He's such a cool guy.
He is super
He's
cool.
so cool.
Like, he legitly talked to me for like 30 minutes in a line with people waiting to get his autograph. And I was like, should I move? And he was like, you're fine.
No.
Yeah. He was. I don't know if you guys have read the Dresden books.
I want to read. He did the voice acting.
He does the audiobook, and I've listened to 4 of them. There's like 27, but like,
so good.
and we asked him to do like a couple voices, and he totally did them because he was excited. Mel Buddy and I, like everyone was there.
Yeah.
Just like he played Brainiac at Smallville, so it was like the Metropolis Comic-Con thing, and so we were the only people that brought the Dresden books. We're like, can you sign these? And he freaked out. He was like, oh, this is so cool. And so we talked about that for like 10 minutes or so. He was a really, really nice guy.
Yeah. I talked to him about the Buffy rape scene.
Yeah, we had a whole podcast about that.
Oh, we did.
how it made him
You probably
uncomfortable.
listened to it. If you did,
I don't
you
think
might
I
have.
listened to that one. I skipped around a little bit.
You have consent to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, we talk about like all the weird like sex assault and stuff that happens in Buffy because like we're fans of the show, but like we know how to pick it apart.
Yeah. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But we do still love it.
Yeah, and then like there's a whole scene where it's just real out of character where he tries to rape her, and it's like.
And then Buffy's like really weak and
she's
can't
like,
fight him off, and I'm like, I don't
weird.
understand
You're a
what's
vampire
happening
slayer.
here. Yeah, but he talked to me for like 30 minutes about it, and then someone later on at the question and answer asked about it too, and he was just like.
I've literally said all of this.
That's what I'm talking about.
I started laughing, and I was in the front row, and he did look at me, and he was.
Put them up to this.
I didn't do it. But dang. Well, our question was different because we had always debated on whether or not that was actually in his character to rape Buffy because I never thought.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. And it doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest with you. So, on that character thing they did with him.
But we've already talked about this in our podcast.
We don't need to talk about it again.
About consent, which
But
is
I
a
would
couple episodes ago. If you just want to go back on that SoundCloud, just like listen to
Give it a little
that.
listen because I've heard it's good. I liked it. I thought it was good. But anyway. But yeah, there was something else that I wanted to ask you about.
There was something that we talked about with like how the angels looked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yes.
I was really big into like monster movies when I was a kid, like Universal monsters and things like that. And so I really wanted to incorporate that look to the angels because I didn't want them to look pretty.
Yeah.
You want them to be little babies with wings.
Little cherubs.
Yeah.
Little
yeah.
naked babies.
You should make like the baby like cherubs, but just make them like little asshole demons.
Can they be the demons?
awesome.
We should make them the demons. Like the little baby cherubs floating around. It's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Just Danny DeVito's voice.
I would love that.
One of them's just chain smoking, but like it's a baby, like with little wings.
It's like, hi, honey, how you doing?
I heard that you were interested in making a deal.
I feel like that Snapchat filter that people were using to scare their kids. When you like open your mouth, it goes like.
Oh, I know exactly what
Like
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the bunny face. And
Yes.
then like, yeah, I remember.
That is absolutely
It could
frightening.
be like that.
It scared me, I'll be honest.
A lot of things scare you.
Yeah. So what? It's true. So what characters specifically, like what monsters did you take some influence from?
Well, it's interesting because I don't know that I can't really pick an influence like on one specific monster. It was just like, okay, like you look at like Thor's, I think it's Thor's helmet. Well, I know it's on Captain America, like the wings.
The wings, yeah. It's
On
on
helmets and
Yeah.
like stuff like that. Like I just was like, okay, I'm gonna take that and actually make it natural and organic.
Yeah.
So they have the wings coming off of their head, like a lot of like Vikings do on their helmets. and,
Right.
like,
But this
different
is
things like
actually
that.
in their
But
skin.
it's actually that. It's actually
Cool.
organic.
So it's
yeah.
almost like the mythological thing that
was based
on that.
Yeah, exactly. So I just took different elements, things like that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just have fun and play with this. and
That's
create
super cool.
Crazy monsters.
Like I
And
really
angels.
like that. That's neat. That's super neat. So I got a question. So this was something that I kept looking at your logo and I was like, is this about the Trinity? Because it's 3 circles that are like connected.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're gonna do angels and you're gonna do demons, it's natural to also have God
Yeah.
in there as well.
Makes sense.
And he is in the series. It's not yet. It's the way that I'm approaching God in this is I don't know if you guys have read or seen Chronicles of Narnia.
Parts I have watched the play
Okay.
as a small child.
Well, you know how like Aslan comes in and out. That's essentially how like he's always there,
Yeah.
but you don't always see him.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he
that's kind of
comes
what
in and out.
C.S. Lewis had him as anyway.
Exactly,
Right.
and C.S. Lewis was actually a really huge inspiration.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
Yeah,
So-
and he's a Christian as well.
Yeah.
Was,
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah,
dead.
he's quite dead.
He's very dead.
Very dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Superbly dead.
I think he actually said that Aslan was supposed to be like
Yeah.
God. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's
Yeah.
not like
He's
that
the
is so great.
metaphor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
You
the
know.
Jesus lion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was pretty cool.
Jesus, like,
But why did the devil have to be the lady?
Because women are evil. And they have vaginas.
How dare! No, it's alright.
They
No,
have.
actually,
I actually really liked her, but anyway.
actually, Trulia, the witch,
Yeah.
is a nod to. I mean, it's not like the same thing.
Yeah, it's
but
not
it was
like
just like
strictly-
she's not a main villain or anything. She's more of a pawn by the demons behind her than anything else. But she's
And that's
just
the
a
witch
fun-
doctor, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is she kind of like bound to them where she owes them something or she made a deal with them or is she just tapped into the darker realm?
We'll say she's tapped into the darker realm,
Okay.
and more information will follow.
Okay.
Erin is like the Barbara Walters of our podcast. She's always trying to get like your plot details. She's just like, so tell me about your next 5 books.
There was one, it was with Lydia Scherer, and she was like, this is like a plot from book 8. Yeah. But okay, I'll tell you.
I'm just compelled to tell you.
Oh, I'm curious. Like you explain things to me, and I'm like, oh, where
it's
is
funny
this going
because
to
her
go?
usual answer is like, we have to read the books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you must
Lydia's
sweet
awesome.
talk to them.
She is
really,
amazing.
She's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we totally like I met them through accident through them.
Yeah.
Just little backstory.
Yeah,
We
that's
actually met
right,
Lydia
yeah.
through accident, too.
That was well, accident, really, because she came up like a little wood elf and started playing her ocarina.
She's like, I will play this and entrance you.
She
That, she didn't.
literally the
I was
day
like,
before.
your beautiful red mane, and I'm just playing the ocarina.
It was like the day before we were at like the other end of the convention, and it was like in an RPG, like a random battle. She just like jumped out of a bush and started playing her ocarina.
She's like, what is that? Oh, hocus pocus. Come.
Yeah.
to the
It was, but it
was,
worked for
yeah.
us.
But it worked, and we agreed to interview her. We didn't even have her scheduled
No.
for an interview.
No.
We just like walked up to her booth and just it happened.
She's
Yeah.
good like that. There'll
Yeah.
be people
Well, it was
that'll be like
actually her
halfway
husband.
across the. Yep. David too. There'll be people that are like halfway across the con floor, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden they just like yell at them, and you turn around and they're buying like 7 books.
Yeah, it's
just-
amazing.
they're
Yeah.
magic. I think
That's good.
Yeah.
It's her hair. I know it is. She's also got this. She's got this little aura about her where she's like,
She's
I
very-
am pristine.
She's very confident and very
Yeah.
charming,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
it
She's
worked.
awesome.
Yeah.
But your booth was right next to them, and we
Yeah.
just kind of like we were on break from interviewing, and we just kind of wandered over.
Yeah.
and
You guys
started
kind of did the
talking.
same thing, I'm going to be honest, because we were like, we should interview them as well, because they're
Well,
great.
it mostly came from about because we were just talking. And
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, so we're from Louisville. We're like, we're from there
Yeah, it was
too.
really cool.
We should interview you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
That's
the
what
minds got
happened.
blown at that point.
So
No
that's
jokes.
the backstory. That's how this podcast happened.
We met them at the Cincinnati Comic Expo.
Speaking of, are you guys planning on doing any future ones coming up next year?
Yeah, as far as I believe the first one we're doing is in February, and that's OC3, so it's
Okay.
Oldham County. Library
Nice.
Show. And then
That's
after
not far from
that-
here.
No. And then after that, we're doing Lexington Comic Con in March, or is that in April?
It's in March.
I can't remember.
'Cause
I'll have to.
we're looking at that in Indianapolis
Yeah.
right now.
We're doing Indianapolis
And they're 2
too.
weeks apart.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh gosh.
We're trying to decide if we want to do that again because we did.
Yeah.
We did the Comic Con in Cincinnati.
We did Comic Expo and then we did Scarefest.
in Lexington.
Oh,
a
God.
week
Right.
apart.
Yeah.
A week apart. And we were exhausted.
we almost did that.
We almost did that too, and we were like, no, we'll just hold
we're
off for Scarefest for next year.
We're
Yeah.
still editing videos,
Yeah.
and people keep messaging us. They're like, "Where's our videos?" And
It's
we're
like, it's coming, I promise.
it's coming. It's just like I went to the hospital for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Mitch started working, and things happened, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we have.
And then we
stuff.
got moved. We were
Yeah,
actually
life
out of our
happens.
house for a long time, and we finally got moved back in. Maybe it was right when you went in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I mean, none of us have had any time to do anything with that stuff. But luckily, we've got a lot of the interviews out. This will be a lot easier to get out because I can just sit down and
Yeah.
be like, I'm going to listen to this. Whereas the other the videos are edited by Mitch. And he is a perfectionist.
He's a
And
perfectionist.
he will sit there
His
like...
videos are good though. I like.
He does
the
a good job.
intros that he's putting in.
He does do a
together.
good job. The Scarefest when he's doing spooky music for the front.
that's-
He's so excited.
He is.
He was like, "Travis, I have something for you to hear."
You need to listen. And he was like, "Doo, doo." It was. And like he danced a little bit while he was letting you listen to it too.
He did.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I have so many cool things in this program. I have like a children's choir, and I have a harpsichord. Listen to this sound." I'm just like,
Oh, well, that's like my friend that's doing our theme song.
Yeah.
He was saying the same thing. He's like, I had this program, and I
Yeah.
can do choral stuff on here, and
I
I'm
bet
like,
it's the same one.
it probably is. So I'm pretty excited about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it sounds.
I dig that.
Sounds awesome.
I totally dig that.
Yeah, because like everybody would when they do the Kickstarter,
I had an
they
idea,
do
sorry.
they do like a video, and it's like they have like the stock
Yeah.
music that they put in there. It's like I want to do something fun, and our music pastor is actually who he is. His name's Cameron. He's a very very talented individual. I just texted him one. I was like, hey, would you mind just composing a 2 to 3 minute thing? He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, I can do that. So we sat at a piano. And in like 20 minutes, he just puts this amazing thing, rough copy, rough draft. I don't know the terminology, but
Yeah,
he
no,
was
I
just
can-
like, I'll just play the piano
The
for 20
scratch.
minutes.
They call it scratch, yeah.
from scratch. And he just, there it is.
The
And
scratch track.
The scratch track. I see. Wonderful.
No, but that's so cool.
Yeah. It's fun.
It
It was
sounds super
I,
epic.
I totally
I want to hear it.
totally nerded out.
Do you
when I
have
heard it.
we could put some on the podcast?
I do
we could-
have a rough copy. I don't know.
yeah.
Cameron would want me.
Oh yeah.
It's for a Kickstarter, so they would have to look at the Kickstarter.
Oh,
if they want to
guys.
hear.
Yes,
It's
that's
not-
much
yes,
better.
and it will come out next June.
It's
June.
going to be
Yes.
next year. So
So maybe we
Keep
could
your eyes
come
open.
back.
keep your eyes and
Yeah,
ears open.
absolutely. That would be great.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
We would love that. I think
Yeah.
that'd be fun. And then also, I'll probably have a new computer by then, and it won't crash and die.
And maybe we'll have our projects together
Yeah.
that we talked about before the podcast, and we're not going to talk about on the podcast because it's a secret, not really secret, but kind of secret thing.
I found a
you know.
secret. Sorry, that's the
And
Buffy.
they did tell us, and we know, and you don't, and that's great.
That's right.
And it's fantastic, so you
Yes.
should be excited.
And we might even use some of Brian's things in it. So
Like if they wanted,
if you guys want,
We want.
because I think it'd be so.
we're just gonna read your comic book on air, and he's gonna be like, "Why are my sales down?" Because we gave it away for free.
You're like, sorry guys.
We're just gonna,
That's what.
Well, no, you could do something like that, but you have to have the comic to see the
The visual.
the pictures while the words
Interesting.
are happening. Yes.
Interesting.
Exactly.
That's going to be one of the evil people, by the way.
it's like Dr. Evil's little sidekick, like the little German lady.
So good. Hey, you told me that you like Batman.
Yes, I do.
That's something we literally haven't talked about. So.
Yes, we have not. This is all new now.
It's
Not
new
on any of our,
territory.
exactly. Not on any of our podcasts have we really talked about. No, we did. We played FMK.
We played FMK, and Erin killed him.
I'm so sorry that I killed him.
She's just like, I can't do like douchebag billionaires. Like I don't.
I can't. I know that he
She
fights for
married
good, but he's not very nice to the ladies he dates.
And that is true. He's
That's
a
why I can't.
womanizer.
I wouldn't let a
and
friend
it's-
date him.
Yeah. This is why I prefer the Michael Keaton version.
Yeah.
I was going to
Because
ask who your favorite
he
is.
is not like that.
No.
Because Bruce Wayne is very blue collar.
I would
Yeah.
say
And
that.
I like that.
Yeah. So, would you say that the movies got him wrong?
I don't know, because there's so many different versions.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially in the
it's-
comics, like
yeah.
the next one that pops up, he's got a very different backstory, and you're like, wait a second.
And now he's classified as a metahuman, which I hate.
What?
Yeah, it came out.
But
What
he's
is
just a human.
What?
They're saying like his intelligence level makes him a metahuman, and I'm like, that's dumb. Don't do that. Like
That is dumb.
the whole thing about Batman is he's the one guy
That's just a human.
That's just like the best, not best human you could be, but like, essentially he's trained his body and his mind to the peak point of
Yeah.
a human. So you can't call him a metahuman.
That
because of
annoys
that.
me.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't like that.
Why do people always have to ruin stuff? It's like, stop it!
Yeah. I know.
All right.
It does. That sucks big time. So, who out of all... So, you said that you liked Michael Keaton. So, what did you think of the bad guys on the Batman Returns and all that? Like the actual character development, because I actually really like in all the characters in the Michael Keaton ones, like the actors, everything.
Yeah.
They do it beautifully.
I actually...
Tim Burton.
Yes,
Yeah.
Tim Burton's Batman is my favorite.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer's the only Catwoman to me ever.
Me
Forever
too.
and always.
Yeah, she was...
Even if it's
great.
slightly different from their comics, I'm still all about her.
And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. Like, because I look at the movies, like every movie that's ever been done, I look at it as like an Elseworlds kind of comment, like alternate, thing.
Right.
So it's but out of all the movies, I prefer Tim Burton. I grew up with that.
Yeah.
And it it inspired my favorite TV show of all time.
What
which
is this?
Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
was
so much from it. They
fantastic.
gave us Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for Harley.
Yeah.
I enjoyed her. I still do, to be honest.
Yeah.
You have some Harley elements to yourself.
Robin was
I do.
Harley Quinn for Halloween. a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Which-
we did Joker and Harley Quinn
Oh!
a couple years
Yeah,
back.
it was fun.
And I did kind of I tried to pull elements from like all the different versions.
Yeah.
Ever. I'll show you a picture.
What's your favorite version
You
of
can't see
her?
on the podcast, but
What's your favorite version of her? It's hard
Probably
to
the
pick.
animated series.
I kind of
She
like.
can't
not
choose.
Suicide Squad. Let's just throw that out there.
I
Yeah.
kind of like her
I
from
understand.
the games. Was it Arkham Asylum game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That
Her
was
little
good.
nurse outfit.
She's like, what's up, guy? She's feisty, and that's why I like her.
Yeah. Well, that's like that really the version of her. I mean, she's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
All the time, like her attitude and craziness.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think I liked her most in the animated series, just because that's where she began.
Yeah.
I mean, controversially, I didn't find Suicide Squad
That's
that
awesome.
bad, but it's very, very different. And
It is, and
she's not the same.
yeah. And my biggest problem with Suicide Squad was they just like changed it up so much in production.
Yeah.
Like they were like, oh, we're gonna take this guy who completed a film and just give it to a trailer company.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
do the
It did
final
feel
cut.
like a very like when all the fight scenes were happening, I was just like, "What's going on?" And I
Right.
didn't know where to look. And I was like,
Yeah.
And when that happens, like that reminds me of like the Ang Lee Hulk movie, like where I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't know where to look.
They tried to do the panels, and I was like,
What's going on?
I appreciate what you're doing visually, but I don't know where to look, and I have no idea what's
There's a
happening.
lot happening, and my focal point is split.
He was just like, sorry guys, like I just made a movie about gay cowboys, so I just didn't know what to do with this.
That's probably what happened. He's just
They
like,
totally
I
cut
can't
out-
just show the countryside for an hour.
they cut out the scene where I made like the Hulk, a gay cowboy, and so that totally ruined the flow of the movie. They just should have left it in. And
They should have. That should have.
And that would have fixed it. That would have been in the MCU.
Yeah.
I would have watched it. I would have been like, huh, interesting. Who would be his partner?
I don't know.
Thor.
Would it be Thor?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They're kind of gay for each other.
Yeah. Have you seen the
I
new
haven't
movie?
seen the new one.
I haven't seen it.
But I've seen the trailers, and as a homosexual,
It's just
I
more
can
of that.
instantly sniff out gay.
It's just more of that in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's really yeah. Their bromance is strong.
Dang. Dang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to have to write something with this then.
There you go.
And it'll be your fan fiction. We need to start having you write fan fiction and just put it up on the page.
We need to actually.
Because we talk about your fan fiction all the time.
We need to read some of my awful fan fiction from when I was a teenager.
Please do.
It's so good.
Please
I mean,
do.
like bad, but like good. Like
Yeah.
Like so
Terribly-
bad, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, because I was a confused teenager and I wrote a lot of weird, porny fan fiction when I was a teenager. And it's so funny to read it now.
It's
I was
always
gonna
kind
say-
of an out-of-body experience when you read it or see or think about anything from when you're like
Yeah.
younger. It's
It
like,
is.
Oh.
See, I took it a step too far and then I put it in a book and I sold it. And I was like, why did I do this?
Your poetry book?
Yeah! I mean, there's some good stuff in there, don't get me wrong, but there's some things I'm like, that was
Oh,
about
yeah.
a boy in high school? Oh my!
See, I never published my poetry
I probably
book.
should.
I just put it online and then let you read it, and you're like, "This is awful, Trav."
Well, if you ever publish it, I was gonna say I could just draw some illustrations, but maybe we shouldn't do that. I don't know.
He did that. Like, he
yeah.
has illustrations
Oh,
for
yeah?
things.
Well,
I used to see
art
him.
sometimes.
I used to see
like,
some of his.
You guys follow me on Facebook, so like I've been trying to work on my art lately. 'Cause I haven't done it in like 10 years, so I have been posting stuff. But I did, when I was like late teens, early 20s, I did draw a lot of penises. And I got really good at it too.
did.
Like,
Well, I remember.
You look at this, and the shading on this is great.
well, no, like at first it was like real bad, and then I was like, oh, look at how natural that vein looks, and I was like,
You want to
so
know what's
good.
so nice about being his friend since like junior high is I got to see the progression.
you did.
well
Well, see, I used to. I don't
We
think
had
we've-
a comic book.
We haven't talked about this on the show.
No, we
I
haven't.
actually used to make comics with us in it.
Yeah, it was
Like,
called
as
Super Erin.
Super Erin and Friends or something
Yeah.
like. It was something. It was just like a campy.
I thought it was
like-
really funny. I was like, why am I the hero?
Because you were my friend, and like I didn't want to be the Beyonce because I didn't want to. Well, you know, I started it in junior high.
I would have let you be the Beyonce.
I started it in junior high, and there was a lot of gay panic because
Oh,
I
that's
wasn't
true.
out yet.
That's true.
And then also, I would also put like a lot of storylines where like guys would come after me and be like, "I'm gonna get you," and I'd be like, "I have a girlfriend," and
I remember this.
yeah.
And it was great.
And you,
But it did progress to where I actually was a homosexual.
Yeah, I did.
But they were really cool. We'd fight pop stars that were secretly aliens.
I think that was my first inclination, actually.
Yeah, we
that,
fought.
that you were a gay man.
Yeah, well-
It's through those little comics
Well,
that he
you
would
know,
give me, and I'd
by
be like,
speaking to me, you should have been
okay,
first
well, no.
inclination.
Well, there's
Well,
something
when you
to
were in
that,
junior
though,
high, it
like-
wasn't as like...
By me doing Britney Spears dance routines with you.
That was completely normal to me.
you know, there's something to that because like I worked with you know, like troubled teens and stuff like that
Yeah.
for a while. And I mean, a big part of it was like art therapy. That's exactly
Yeah.
what was happening
Mm-hmm.
there. You were feeling
Just
all the feelings, and,
Put it out. Yeah.
and you know that was your
it was my outlet.
That was your
your
therapy.
outlet. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one, the one issue that I remember vividly. Well, besides us fighting
Was
the
it
Backstreet
the
Boys,
Chris Kirkpatrick one?
where we paired you. You actually made me like actually make him a part of the story.
You put him in there.
Oh,
and I was like, why, thank you, sir.
I was like, okay. Well,
That's from NSYNC, by the way, if you're wondering.
She loved Chris Kirkpatrick, and I was always like, why? But she was like, he's my favorite.
That was my hunk. That was him.
No,
I would have pictures of him, and I'd just be like, this is mine. I was creepy with him.
No, I was talking about, like, there's another issue where we defeated Britney Spears by, like, outdoing her on a game show. Like,
yeah, that was great. I have some of
excellent.
these still. I really do.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
funny.
We should give
One of my
them to
friends in middle
you.
school made a comic where we had like I don't know who he was really. It was like a school resource officer or something.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't like a cop. He was just, I don't know, like a guy with a really big head. He was really weird. Big head metaphorically. He actually had a tiny head.
Oh, okay.
But,
At first I thought you were talking about
Kind of a
him.
thing.
Yeah, I was like, he just had a big head. I was like, that's
guy
fine.
with a big-
No, big head metaphorically. He actually had like
He had a
humorously
large
tiny
ego.
head. But my friend drew comics where he was like a villain and basically like Hulk but evil. And it was really fun. I'm trying to remember what his name was because he would say his name and be like smash. It was just a lot of fun for us because he was not fun for us.
You took a bad situation and you made it better.
That you're
You were
gonna be
like, you were
and then
hate
he
Juding.
became a
That's what you
criminal.
were doing.
He went to jail for assaulting people later in life.
Which is not great. But we still have those comics.
Fond memories.
Oh, it's so sad. No. Now you, Robin, actually said you really like Friends.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, I gotta know everything about this. So I love
You
Friends.
mean like you want me to recite episodes?
Yes.
'Cause I could,
Yeah,
I could
can't
do it with
that.
you.
like for real.
I could do it with you. Hold on, let me see if you know what this one was. She knows it! Yay! I want to turn that into a horror script, by the way.
Alright, Jill says vestibule. We're going to vestibule.
That's an idea we're kicking around is reading Friends scripts as horror movies.
Because there's so many, we could totally do it. My sandwich! We could do it because...
Excellent one.
I know!
Pretty much anytime Ross freaks out about anything, because
He's got such a bad
oh my,
attitude.
he's so messed up.
Yeah. I think we've all agreed that we don't
He's
like
a child.
Ross.
That's really
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
We're
just a
actually
child.
about to do a podcast on Ross Geller's psychological issues.
That's a long.
Yeah.
This podcast episode will be 5 hours.
Hold on.
You would have to start it out like,
I have a list that I've already started. I can't remember where
I
it
can't
is in
start
here, but
ranting
it
because
is
I'm just going to take
long.
away from what we're going to talk about. Like,
Yeah, I can't talk about it right now either.
Because I have my points
But
in my
dang,
head.
he's got some shows. But
does.
okay, we talk about this all the time. If you could be a Friends character, who would you be? I
I don't know
know.
that I want to be any of them. They're all pretty dysfunctional.
They are.
Ugly.
Like they're pretty. Like, I've seen like T-shirts and stuff where it's like, Joey taught me to blah blah blah, and I was like, no, you shouldn't learn your life skills
shouldn't.
from Friends.
No.
Like
No.
I've mentioned
No.
this
Don't
on
do
the
that.
podcast before. If you watch Friends as a fully functioning adult now, you're
They're
just like,
awful.
they're
Oh, gosh.
assholes.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so
oh, they're
selfish.
so messed up.
So
Like,
selfish.
Ross and Chandler together, I'm just sitting there like, oh god. What are you gonna do next? You're doing terrible things to everyone, and I don't like it. And then when Chandler gets with Monica, I'm like, poor Monica.
Yeah.
She's so mean to you.
It's so sad
He's so
when you
mean
go
to
back
her.
and you watch like things that you used to love, and you're just like, these characters are terrible.
They're so entertaining to watch, but I would not want to be around.
No. That's why no one else is.
Right.
Like, if you actually watch the show, everyone that comes into the group is always just like, I'm going to leave now.
well, what's funny
Except
is
for
like
Mona. She
it's
tried to
funny
stay.
how much you end up agreeing with the creepy psychologist guy that Phoebe dates, Roger. He's like, you guys are
Define me.
find me, love me. And it's like, you're codependent little circles. And I was like, well, I mean, you're not wrong.
He's exactly
Your
right.
big mugs.
They might as well have nipples on them.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, maybe Ursula is the normal twin.
We need to do a podcast on her being the good guy. She is pretty
Well,
awful.
she's
Remember what
the-
she did to what's his face? The guy that thought that Phoebe was her and he was like her
the
stalker.
Yeah.
Simon. know.
We actually just
I
watched
keep
that.
trying to call him Simon Pegg. That's not his name.
That's a British accent.
That's a British man.
Or is he
That's
Scottish?
Oh, it's David Arquette,
no.
isn't it? I thought he was stalking.
Oh, David Arquette was the stalker. That is funny because he was married to
I
Monica
know.
at the time. I mean, Courtney Cox. Monica.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who was that? Sean Penn. Sean Penn.
Oh,
That's who it
yeah.
was. Yeah.
That's right.
And Ursula was just lying to him about everything. She was like, I work with children.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So good. Really, she's a porn star.
But which
Yeah.
one is more crazy?
Or like
I
when...
can't
I
decide.
think
Or
they're crazy
like
in
when
their own
she doesn't
individual
tell
ways.
Phoebe that her mom left a suicide note.
I know!
And then she just like, hold on. And she
writes her-
scribbles it. Oh yeah, and your real mom lives in Montauk.
Well, like maybe,
P.S.
maybe Phoebe was so crazy
You
and
read the
mean to
poem,
her
right?
that that's what influences Ursula to be a bitch to her.
That could be.
And maybe Phoebe's just like this psycho, and then Ursula is actually a normal person, and then Phoebe was so mean to her growing
Phoebe
I
up.
has
don't
such a
think
good heart,
so.
though.
Phoebe does have a good heart, and then also Ursula was on Mad About You,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
So you got to see her character
she
a little
was
bit in that.
awful
I
in Mad
think we
About
need
You.
to do a
I
whole
loved that
podcast where we just
crossover.
do
I did
this.
too.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that crossover was amazing.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
it made me very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about Mad About You the other
In the
day,
Stranger Things
too.
podcast, because Paul Reiser showed up, and we were like, mad about you! And then we were like, children don't understand.
I completely forgot
exactly
he was
right.
in Mad About You. Because I'm like, oh, he's the guy from Aliens, and blah, blah, blah. And then,
Well, yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute. He's the dude from Mad About You as well.
He was married to Helen Hunt for like 8 years.
Mind blown.
I love Helen.
I do too.
Now-
she's amazing.
Robyn, did you
Yeah.
watch Mad About You? Because we did discover that you did not watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh yeah,
I've seen enough to know that I liked it.
Okay.
I haven't like watched.
I have the first season. We'll just stop this podcast right here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down. I always.
I would totally
Like
just
I
watch
said,
it
I
right now.
love
Like I'm not
that,
even
so-
kidding.
Yeah, we were
I love
talking
her, too.
about,
She's so
um,
good.
Erin's wearing her Midnight Society shirt, and Brian was like, "That's amazing!"
And I'm like,
he-
"You're close in the
and he was
dark."
like, "My wife won't understand it." And then we
Like,
were like,
what is
"What?"
that?
That's okay. I have some of those as well, and we'll just stop right now. Here we go. No, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, such a good show. Do you know what Are You Afraid of the Dark is?
I mean,
Vaguely.
Did you watch Goosebumps?
No.
Oh
Okay.
no!
So Are You
I'm
Afraid of
so
the Dark?
old. I'm dying. Just
Are You
like,
Afraid of the
sad.
Dark is all these kids that would sneak out of their houses in the middle of the night and go into the woods around this little
Sick.
campfire. Exactly. And they would tell each other ghost stories, and they would rotate who was telling the ghost story that night.
I see.
But they were actually like terrifying.
They were
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
It was like Goosebumps, but like really scary. Goosebumps.
Like,
Yeah.
it was
And like
Legion.
they were around at the time. That kid me would not have been into that at all. Like I was not.
You would have
about scary.
cried.
Well, there's-
yes, I would have been crying.
There's
like,
some times that I've gone back as an adult and watched it, and I'm like, this is still freaking terrifying.
It is
Well, there
terrifying.
was one episode that I still remember to this day, and it was like this serial killer clown comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it came to life, and there was one scene where like it was his mom or possessed the kid's mom
Yeah.
or something, and she's like smiling in black ooze.
I
Yeah, and that was like the commercial break. I was like, what is happening?
You gave
you
me
told
chills.
me about that. Didn't that inspire that?
That actually inspired.
Is it in here?
I would
It's
not
in
be
Memoirs of
surprised.
Yeah, it inspired some of the
That
well,
fits
there's
in.
like ectoplasmic goop
Yeah.
that demons like
Well, that's
shoot
also
out.
in issue 2.
Hold on.
Sex-
Which
Sexist.
part? Oh,
I'm going to look at issue 2 right now.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
no,
I'm
I
looking
did it.
through
No,
the
no.
page.
I don't want to give
We're
anything
not trying to
away.
give away. Oh, was it that page you just passed?
There was goo coming out of her eyeballs.
Oh, yeah. Actually, there is yes.
That's
I can't
was
talk
gonna
about
say,
it
you-
because it's a spoiler.
you told
We're not
me-
trying to
But,
spoil.
Um,
There it is! There's goo coming out of her mouth.
it's here.
Or is that
flip
blood?
It,
It's
flip
probably
it to that.
blood.
But flip,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's just
There's
blood.
a
It's just
direct-
blood, everyone.
direct influence.
I'm hilarious.
Keep going. Keep going.
There's a lot of stuff coming out of their mouth right now. Oh,
Yeah.
that is
So
her.
like, I
That's
took the
her.
idea and
That's her. It looks a lot
went
like
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, and then she turns
It
around.
was a very.
Because there's a little boy, actually,
It's not
and this is a little spoilery, but we'll say it anyway. This scene in scene, we're actually in the mind of
Oh
a
my.
boy who's being possessed.
Is he in an insane asylum?
Yes.
Because I'm
And-
looking and it looks like he's like tied up to his bed.
Yeah, he's in restraints.
Oh,
and,
baby.
and don't say it.
We're not gonna say
I'm
it.
not going to say no. I looked at something that is a
Don't
huge
worry.
spoiler.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If we spoil something and you want to edit it out, Mitch is. Mitch.
We have put a horn over it.
Mitch has put like because there was we were talking about somebody we went to high school with the other day that we don't associate with anymore.
I was trying to mouth it. It did not work.
He just put a horn over it and it just made it so much better. It was like,
awesome.
so we were talking about. It was the best.
That's an awesome way
I'm
to
pretty sure I
handle
heard that. So
That's my
good.
favorite thing.
It is.
But
So
anyways,
I told Mitch he has to edit all the
yeah,
podcasts.
he has to edit all of them now and
It's like,
add
sorry.
horns, even when they're not warranted. Just
Just put a horn in there.
it'll keep them away.
Did someone cuss? Have like a baby
We
laugh.
don't know. That's terrifying.
But like, I wasn't trying to come for you just because you're so young. I was just like, I feel so old
Yeah.
because you don't know the things that I
And that, I
know.
always feel bad because I always like had that effect.
No.
Like, I'm 6.5 years younger than Brian, and all my friends are older than me.
Yeah.
I've just always kind of been that way.
Yeah.
And so people are like, people will say something, I'm like, I don't know what that is, and then they're like, wait, when were you born? And I'm like, 93,
Well-
and then they melt. And
You know what? It's not really a big deal. I don't know why people make a big
It's
deal.
not. It's just we feel like we're still really young, and
Yeah.
then people are like, I don't know what that is.
Well,
And then-
yeah.
Here's what I think it is. You have you
Yeah, I
have
feel
an
bad.
older aura kind of about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they probably melt, because they're like, wait a second, you were born in the 90s?
Yeah.
You kidding?
Yeah.
You know, because you do have the presence of someone that's wisdomy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which you don't expect to
good.
see from someone that's much younger. You know,
Yeah,
and you're
it's-
not that much younger, so
No, yeah.
if anybody gives you hassle, you
But
tell
like we
me.
have some friends who are like in
And
their
I'm coming.
40s,
Yeah.
kind of, and
Yeah.
like they're just be like, oh my god, leave.
We're not hating on young people. It's just
No.
you know, when you're older, you have
Yeah.
different ways.
But
of
now I kind of got
communicating.
used to it, and like at church, like there was a new couple that came in, and they
Yeah.
were like, oh, we're this much years old, and I was like, no, I'm the young one. Get out.
Yeah.
No, like that's my
Yeah.
thing. Stop.
You should take that.
really
You should
like
take
that
that as a
deal.
compliment, though. That they think that you're older.
Yeah.
Because you know the fact that you hang out with older people means that you relate to people that are more mature than someone that is actually your age. So
Which
feel
seems
good
good now,
about
but
it.
when I was in school and wanted to be friends with the teachers, then
That's what happened to me as well. So I completely understand. Like I was friends with the teachers. I would stay after class and be like, "So what's going on?" And they'd be like,
Well,
"Let's talk."
To be fair, you're easy to be friends with everybody.
Oh, thanks.
That we've talked about that in length before. That's why you have so many problems with people being like, "I'm going to touch you."
No,
because,
yeah, that's
like,
true.
You're so friendly that people are just like,
That's true. Like people kind of start viewing me as like a baby doll. Like I've always had people like they will actually move my body to hug them and stuff. It's really weird.
That's weird.
I know. And like I'm just kind of like, can you not do this to me? Or if they want me to stand next to them,
Yeah.
they'll actually like pick me up and move me. And I'm like, listen, I get it. I'm small, but stop.
I just remember seeing that happen a lot in high school. where
Yeah.
People would just like pick you up and like carry you around, and I was like, pretty sure she didn't ask for that.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're like, hey there, tabletop, and they'd put their arm on my head because I'm short, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh, you're
that's-
so funny.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
funny,
been
thank
there.
you. Yeah, but whatever. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just stop touching me. Everyone. You're talking about
Cat
Desmond?
is on the piano
Yeah.
and he's staring.
Judging hard. Judging hard
The
right
cat
now.
is very.
Yeah.
That's
So
Desmond.
pretty.
Yeah.
That's Desmond. He's the little runt that we found at my grandma's.
Is he the oldest one?
Yes, he's the 15-year-old.
He's really
Oh,
pretty, and
yeah.
I loved him, but I just looked up and he was like death staring into your face.
He's like, I don't know you. Why are you here?
He's leaving.
It's very appropriate that he was on the organ because when we were 15, we wrote a song about him.
We did.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, we wrote a whole play about
We
him.
wrote. It was for history class.
Yeah.
We had to write a historical.
Wasn't
piece
it
of
like a
art.
World War One?
And yeah, and then we wrote a musical about Desmond. He was a
Darling,
soldier.
I can
She's still.
feel you.
Wow.
It was amazing. I'm not even
good.
And then
kidding.
we got
I actually still think I have it. I still think I have
Did
that
we
journal.
record it?
We didn't record it, but I have the journal that we wrote it in.
Oh,
It's so good.
we should do that. We should like
You want
actually
to?
record it.
You should
We could.
perform it?
We should perform
Absolutely.
because you want to do like music and stuff.
Yeah, I do.
So we should do that.
Desmond? Is it okay that we used your likeness, but as a human?
But as a human, but also as a soldier that possibly dies. I think.
Hey, maybe it's like a past life thing.
Oh yeah.
Whoa! Whoa! Blew that wide open.
a,
Desmond's like, I'm done.
He's like, I don't care, just give me a snack. Give me treats.
Like, where's the catnip?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I wanted it. Anyway, but yeah.
I feel like we should bring the conversation back to these guys.
Oh yeah, we should. We should. But
We just like talking to you.
You never told us who you would be, though. You have to pick out of friends.
We do.
Oh, who I would be? Well, I already kind of am Monica a bit, and I'd be okay with being Monica because I like Jennifer Aniston way too much. It's kind of weird.
It's okay.
It's just like it's kind of out of character for me, but I like love her. She's
There's
amazing.
nothing wrong with that.
And Monica's her best friend and lives in the apartment.
So you would get to be her best friend and live in her apartment.
Yeah. Although, but I
So
say that, but
you were
Rachel
Monica
is
pre-Chandler.
No?
Or after
Well,
Chandler.
I don't know. He's kind of like Chandler too, so it's funny. We'll be watching them and we're like, this is.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how it worked out.
Asshole.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like the uptight. I'm not a clean freak, but I'm like very uptight and like.
We must
and he's
control
very,
the
like,
fun.
Yes.
I understand this.
I have rules for everything. Like
Yeah.
I have reasons for everything. That's what it, like.
There's nothing wrong
Like
with
when
this.
she's talking to Richard and she's like, the flowers on the bedspread have to face this way, but like that's me. Like I have reasons for why I do everything.
That's
And
called
he's always
OCD.
Joking. So,
And I have it as well, so don't feel bad about
like
it.
there's like I'm not even gonna go into my music. There's a very rigid system of how it works, and I don't let anyone touch it.
Yeah.
I like all of this.
I was like, hey, can I put? Because I don't have like I had an iTunes account a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's like, hey, can I
It's
put
like,
this
hey,
in?
can I put this on yours? And she's like,
No, you're gonna ruin it. And at first I was joking. I was like, no, really, I have it. You can't touch it.
Do not touch it. This is important to me.
Okay, we had known each other 2 days. And she comes back, her and a friend come back to my apartment, and we're picking a movie.
Yeah.
And she's looking through my movies, and she's like, well, have you categorized these? And I was like, I mean, kind of. They're by
that is such a moment.
genre, I guess.
Yeah.
And she sat there and alphabetized my movies.
Mine are
He
alphabetized.
has a lot of movies.
I have a lot of
This was
movies.
I do
literally, I had known him for 2 days. Me and a friend went to his apartment. I just sat there, literally like movies everywhere, alphabetized the whole binder.
Don't even feel bad because all of our movies over here, there's like shelves
broken
upon
mine.
shelves. They are alphabetized as well.
Are they?
Do not. Yes, they are.
Did you read them?
Yeah, I redid all of them.
Yes, ours at home are alphabetized.
They're
Which is
alphabetized, and
fine.
also like I have them like if they're by like the same. Well, this is actually the book.
See, I usually go by genre.
If they're by the same author, I will put them all together, but they have to be the biggest one on the bottom and then the smallest one on the top.
Yeah.
Because they'll all just fall over, and it doesn't make sense for them to be all topsy-turvy different sizes.
Right.
Come on, people!
Right.
It's
It
ludicrous.
looks more neat.
It does look
And
more
see,
nice.
that's why it works out perfectly, because I love the way that it looks.
Yeah.
I like the convenience of the alphabetized category. That
Yeah.
word. And, and I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And she does. She'll just come in and she's like, I have to do this. It has to be done. I'm like, okay, great. That's
See?
fine. Yeah, it
Okay, so Chandler, that's who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're
We
Monica.
really are Chandler and Monica, yeah.
Perfect.
But without the, like you said, without the...
Did you
Without being assholes.
people.
did you
Hopefully,
propose to him
Hopefully.
in a candlelit room
I did not.
Put a turkey on your head.
and dance?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for that.
Well, Thanksgiving is coming up.
That's
coming.
So have a couple days.
So you have to get a
He does
monstrous-sized
have a
turkey.
turkey hat that he wears every
I do.
Thanksgiving that has
What?
like little
Yeah.
legs that stick up and...
That is
So,
exciting.
yeah, he does wear a turkey on his head.
You could incorporate this
not
into
like
the
a
Monica
real
thing. You could be Monica for Halloween with the turkey on her head and the fez and the big sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That would be fun.
And I could be Rachel.
Please be Rachel.
I'm not even going to
Don't
shave.
shave. Just put on a janky wig and like a dress that says Ralph Lauren and really bad crayon or like marker. That's what she wears, right, Ralph
Yes.
Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Seriously though, how did she get up into the Ralph Lauren business so quickly?
Mark.
Oh,
She
yeah.
did have a tendency, and I'm not shaming,
To
that's all you want,
date
but she
ladies.
did like
Date
sleep
ladies.
and
Still
date
date
with lots of
people.
co-workers.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
Poor Ross. Ross was like, I don't
Well,
trust this.
Ross,
No, there's no poor Ross for me.
yeah, Ross was let her sleep with who she wants.
No, seriously.
Yeah, that whole
I
we were on a
understand-
break crap. No.
No. Seriously, I don't agree with Ross 99% of the time, but there was something between Rachel and Mark.
Oh yeah,
There was.
that was there.
Yeah. I saw it. It was there. Probably not for Rachel, but there was something
I feel
from
like they were
Mark.
both wrong there. Like,
Yeah.
she should have seen it,
Yeah.
and done something about it.
Yeah.
And she didn't feel the same way.
And also-
but he should have like chilled the heck out.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If it was making him uncomfortable,
Yeah.
she should have been like,
Right.
hey, let me tone it down being around him a little
Right.
bit. Or at least do something where you can get to know him so you don't
Yeah.
feel so weird about it. But it was plainly obvious that Mark
Yeah.
was into her. And I kind of think she used it to her advantage to actually get into the Ralph Lauren
I
thing.
think
Was it
she,
Ralph Lauren
I
she
think
was in that time?
It wasn't-
conveniently ignored it.
It wasn't Ralph Lauren
Probably.
yet. What?
I
Where
don't
was
think
she at that point? It
she-
wasn't.
No, that was Bloomingdale's.
Ah, yeah, that's it.
That's what
it was.
That's it. Yeah.
The mothership is calling you home. Oh my god, that was at Bloomingdale's.
Yeah. Okay. But that's where I can kind of say poor Ross on that one because I do believe
Like
that
we said,
she
none of them
knew.
are saints, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. None of them definitely are saints at
Yeah.
all because they all kind of there are moments for all of them where you're like, man, you suck.
They all suck.
Yeah, it's true.
But
The
I also
only one.
like.
Oh, go ahead.
I tend to not sympathize with Ross too much because like how many chances did he have? But anyway,
1,000.
I am personally, and I know I'm probably in a minority camp here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Joey and Rachel fan.
I liked that too.
I got really upset when that.
They
didn't
just
actually
stopped
happen.
it.
Yeah, and
Like, they didn't
it
even
was
have an
going
ending.
so well. Like it was not like a force.
Yeah.
Like it really, really worked, and
Yeah.
like they were good for each other.
I
It's like
agree.
Joey's like a man whore, but
Yeah.
he's so nice to his friends. Like he's a good person with his friends.
That's why I picked Joey on the FMK.
And like he like actually cares about her and doesn't want to hurt her. And Ross
Right.
is just like, oh,
I'm gonna hurt her all I want.
Yeah, just like I'm just gonna do all this crap and then apologize
Yeah.
later. Like,
Ross is always selfish, like 24/7, and that's why I killed Ross.
See, I don't like Ross because Ross is that kid that he was bullied and a nerd in school, but like he thinks the whole world owes him something now that he's
Right.
an adult.
I agree with that.
And like he used that to his advantage, and he tries to like shame people if they.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's basically just a child. He whines, he manipulates, he doesn't take any responsibility ever.
No.
Like he's just.
He blames it
I
on
mean, his
everyone
freaking
else.
tagline is "We were on a break." He's
Right.
trying to shift blame. It's like, no, dude. Like, even if you
I
did
can't
think
even
you were
watch
broken
that
up,
season.
like it was that night. Come
Yeah,
on. Like,
exactly. It's like
Oh,
you
yeah.
could have at
If
least
you don't
waited.
see anything wrong with this, then you're just maybe a trash human. I don't know.
That just made me so mad. Like I can't even handle that. And then like the
Yeah.
next day, Rachel's coming over to say sorry.
Yeah.
And she's like, "There's a woman here." Wow.
He doesn't even tell. No, she doesn't even know. At
She
first.
finds
She finds
out,
out
doesn't she?
later.
Yeah.
She finds out later. She was like, "Was she there when I was there?" And he was like, and it's like, no. you
I just
can't.
remember like when I first watched that, I was like,
That hurts me.
Ross. I still even thinking
Yes.
about it, I have chills about it, and I get emotional. Like I'm not
Oh,
even
yeah,
kidding.
no.
Once an
Like,
episode
there-
That's so true.
There's like twice where like what Ross does to Rachel like makes me cry. Like when he makes the list and she says like, can you imagine everything you hate about yourself? Not only does the person you like think that, but uses that for reasons not to be with you. I was like, oh my god.
But
I cry every
she's
single
not
time.
Rachel.
Like I cry
Yeah.
every single time.
I cry about
At
that too.
when she says that because it's just so raw. And then later when she just sounds so hurt when she's like, was she there?
Yeah.
Like, you were talking about getting back together with me and like she was leaving. Oh, it's just
Yeah, I completely understand, and that's probably one of the reasons why you love Jennifer Aniston so much.
Yeah.
Because not only did that happen to her on the show, but it also happened to her on real life.
Yep.
Because of Brad frickin' Pitt. I hate Brad Pitt. I just want to put that out there. I've never liked him.
I
And
feel like you feel like with Brad Pitt the same way you feel about Megan Fox just as a man.
yes. Yes.
I don't know if
I think some self-discovery just happened.
So so
Wait
right.
a minute if it got recorded, but we had a whole tangent about how
God.
she thinks Megan Fox is actually a demon who eats
She
people.
is. Well, okay. I explained this before. The crash happened. But I'm going to explain it again. Okay. So I feel like if you touch Megan Fox's skin, it's like this slime. And I feel like it'll move with your finger. It's gonna. You're gonna leave a divot. Like it's.
Gross.
I feel like she smells. I feel like if you kiss her, it's like decaying flesh taste in your mouth. Like I just.
And now she's no longer going to donate money to us.
Yeah.
Because you don't like her.
I bet if I met her as a person and she was like really nice, I'd be like, oh, everything's
She would
fine.
eat somebody that you
And
like.
I knew it.
You're like, hi, Megan Fox.
That's the noise
That's
she
the
makes.
noise
That's
she
what I
That
imagine.
feels like one of those weird cutaways from Family Guy where she's just like, she's eating somebody.
Oh god. Oh, I can't stop thinking about her skin now. She's always sweaty looking.
She should get with Brad though, because like
No, because then they might like create little smelly, slimy children.
I've actually read accounts that Brad Pitt smells. Like he does not clean himself.
yeah.
I've read accounts from coworkers.
Yeah, I've read that too.
Co-workers, co-stars. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But dang, I bet they do. Like if they were in the same room together, they'd be like,
Because he doesn't like to shower.
yeah, he doesn't like to shower at all. But I don't think Angelina Jolie does either. So
Yeah, I think that might be a thing, because they're like, yeah, man, we're just raising everybody naturally. We're playing in the dirt, you know?
it was stanky.
We've just adopted
stanky.
16 children from other countries.
And if you think about it, Megan Fox and Angelina Jolie kind of look alike.
Kind of.
Kinda.
But
They
I
both have
like-
that same shtick.
But at least Angelina Jolie,
I don't think she smells.
I feel like she's a better person than
Yes,
Megan Fox.
I agree
she
with that.
actually cares about other people.
Yeah, I
'cause
agree
she's
with
always
this.
like, I'm
Yeah.
going to the United Nations. I'm Angelina Jolie.
I'm going to adopt another child. One of the things that I loved about her is she went to some tribe. I don't remember what it was, but one of the kids that she adopted, I'm not sure which one, was actually a slave in that tribe, and she gave them like $1 million to buy the child from them. And now it's just her
Adopt
kid.
it.
And she
That's
adopted him. Yeah, I was just like, Angelina Jolie, you little woman, you. Yeah, but that's why I'm okay with Angelina Jolie. I think she's a cool chick. But Megan Fox, nope.
I love. She makes that sound effect every time you bring it up. She just turns into like a turkey or a fish. She's real upset.
I can't handle Megan Fox. But we actually, before the crash happened, we talked about Megan Fox playing the witch doctor.
But
Do you remember?
We already,
Yes,
In your
that's
book.
right. Yeah.
we had already talked about other people. Did we?
Yeah, Jason Momoa.
We got it
David
recorded.
Jonathan. Yeah, I think.
No, we didn't record that. Who do
Did
you want to
think we
play?
did.
No, we
We
did
talked
because we
about-
talked about it.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, this crash is throwing us off.
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
It's a game.
You did. I was gonna just let it go.
Game More Game of
There's
Thrones.
actually a Game of Thrones on
Really?
Amazon. Did any
I
of
think
you
it's
know
actually
this?
a review show.
Is it a
Because it
review?
sounds like it should be.
I thought it was a
But
parody.
it's a review show.
No, it's a parody by.
I've seen stuff about it on YouTube though. I think it's like a
Really?
review show where there's just like a bunch of gays. They're like, oh, this is what happened on Game of Thrones.
I'll watch that instead. Instead of Game of
There you go.
Thrones. Perfect.
Excellent.
Someone get raped again. Yep.
Fast forward. No thank. No thank you. Well, we have been podcasting for an hour and 12 minutes.
Oh wow.
Great.
We have done it.
We should probably ask.
We should,
like
something.
some finishing questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
do you have any other projects other than the Memoirs of an Angel?
I have a lot of
Ooh.
projects on the back.
I mean,
burner.
that you're willing to talk about. You know, if it's
Oh no,
secret.
yeah, no, it's
We don't want people to steal your stuff.
Yeah.
no. There are multiple projects that will happen after Memoirs is done.
Oh, nice.
Potentially at the same time, I'm working with a friend of mine who is writing a comedy series in the same vein of like The Tick.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably be illustrating that when that comes around. So yeah, and then there's tons of
I
other
always
stuff.
tease
that
him. He tells me about all these ideas, and he says after Memoirs of an Angel is done, but he literally has 4 books worth of like a dozen issues
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
Of Memoirs of an
Yeah, so
Angel.
this is like the layout of Memoirs. Like I've got book 1 is 2 volumes,
Uh-huh.
which is 4 issues a
Yeah.
piece, and then Book 2 is 4 volumes. Book 3 is 3 volumes, and book 4 is 2 volumes.
Yeah.
So like I've got it all like planned out. I know
that's
exactly.
good.
Yeah. So like,
But you know, you can always take a break in between books and try.
yeah, and I'll probably do a
Nothing
lot
wrong
of
with
that because I'll go ahead and throw this out there. The character that my friend Joe is working on is called the Bolt, and he shoots lightning out of his butt.
The Shirimi.
It's not an eyeball, it's lightning.
Eyeball, it's lightning.
I like it. Continue. Sorry, we got excited.
So, I'm very excited.
I don't know if you listened to this podcast, but we did one on mythical creatures, and there's this one from Japan called the Shirimi. And it's literally, he's not even a monster, he's just a dude with an eyeball in his butt, and he gets real excited about it, and he flashes people.
Oh!
Like
He
bends
wants
over
to show 'em.
Yeah.
Alright.
And that's the
That's it.
Shirimi from Japan.
Yeah.
Thanks, Japan.
That's why I got so excited, because that one makes me hysterically laugh. Like, I can't even handle it. It's so good. It's so good.
So, so that's on the back burner as well, and, you know, we got some other projects that I plan on doing after Memoirs is done.
Nice. So, what is something that you want people to take away from reading these comics?
The biggest theme in book 1 is essentially just acknowledging that
Something's there.
yeah, acknowledging that there's more to life than just this.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll bring up some questions about what all that entails, and but really that's it. Just being aware.
Yeah, it's very much like it's finding your spiritual life.
Yes, is step 1.
Yeah.
Essentially, and that's what book 1 is pointing to. And then when we go into more of the biblical stuff that I'll do, is essentially just tackling some really hard questions that a lot of people, including myself, have about the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, why is there so much death and destruction?
Right.
Coming from God. You
Yeah.
know, why is all that there? What does that look like?
Right.
And we'll go into that.
And that's something that makes a lot of people angry,
Yeah.
you know, and actually will make them turn the other way.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's a good thing to tackle.
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of times, like in other Christian, quote unquote Christian movies and comics, we don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, and it's not addressed. But that's what people are dealing with.
Right.
And we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's the focus of book 2 and beyond, really.
Yeah.
But book 1 is just acknowledging, hey, there's something else out there. Let's take a look at what it could be.
Cool.
Yeah.
In like a really cool horror fiction kind of way.
Yes. So, yeah, if you like horror, fantasy kind of story, like that's
Up my alley.
I know, right?
I know.
I love finding out people's like theological kind of views on things, especially when they do something that is in the horror genre, because we just did Scarefest like we were talking about, and we interviewed the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, who they're Christians as well, and they go out and hunt ghosts.
Interviews are coming, by the way.
Yes, they are.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I asked them, you know, a lot of theological things like, what's your take on all this? Because a lot of people who don't believe in that spirit realm, but they do believe in God still. So I'm kind of like, how do you put it together?
And that's also tackled in this as well.
Nice!
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to describe it, because I usually would and be like, what's happening?
Every detail.
I'll just read it. How's that? Because it sounds really neat. And this is actually something that I've thought about doing before, is taking pieces from the Bible and actually making it into something that's more relevant, that someone that's not a Christian would want to read. You know, because I know that there are so many things from people that I've talked to that are atheists. They always say to me that they don't like it when it's shoved down their throat.
Yeah.
And
I'm kind of the same way, but like I'm agnostic. I hate that word.
agnostic.
I just believe there might be something more, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's any one thing, you know.
Right.
So many people are landing there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we've heard, you know, because it's like we've heard the Christian explanation, we've heard all these other religions,
Right.
and there's no way that one of them has it. You know, that's what everybody kind of lands in that place.
Right.
And so why don't we talk about that? Why don't
Yeah.
we talk about, okay, so why do you believe Christianity gets it right? Why do you believe,
Right.
atheism is the truth? All of these
Right.
things. Let's get together. Let's talk about it. Let's actually analyze things and do some research.
Exactly.
And that whole process is what I'm putting into these books.
That's wonderful because, there's a line from a Buffalo Springfield song where it says, "Nobody's right if everybody's wrong." And you have to try and find some common ground with each other. Like, you can't just because you don't believe something that someone else believes doesn't mean it's not true, and so on and so forth. It's the vice versa thing. And being able to talk about it openly and not yell at each other and not shove it down someone's throat is something that is so important to me. And I like that you are looking into those issues and battling them and conquering them, because there's a lot of people that just they don't understand, where you're coming from,
Right.
As a Christian person, which is important to me for other people to know.
If they want to have some sort of faith, they're afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because everyone is so aggressive about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good to come from kind of a
It's start a
place of creativity.
conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when I was, just to kind of go back, another big part of where this all came from is when I graduated high school, I really didn't know why I believed what I believed.
Right.
And I went into college and I had professors calling what I believed to be firm foundational fact
Right.
creation myth and all these different things. And I was like, oh, crap, what? Are you right? What's going on?
Yeah.
And, thankfully I had a youth pastor who jumped in and helped me deal with a lot of these questions and pointed me in a direction that, hey, there's not an answer for everything
Right.
here. We don't have a clean cut, 2 + 2 = 4 answer here.
Yeah.
But here are some things where it's talked about, and
Yeah.
you can think for yourself.
Yeah.
And really do the research and explore both sides.
Yeah. Well, anything in the Bible is very subjective. So anytime that you're going through something and you read it, it's going to come out a different way, even if you've read it before. So that's awesome that you had somebody that was able to be like, it's going to be different for you than someone else. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, and because a lot of people will have these questions, and either people say you shouldn't have questions, or they're not met with any sort of, or well, that's just how it is.
Right.
And if and that's when you see people saying,
away,
well,
yeah.
that's not an answer, and so then you turn so when you engage with those questions, and we look and we say, okay, if we say the Bible is true and that there's objective truth in there, where are we getting that from? What does
Right.
that look like? How does that apply? What?
Yeah, and you can't just say that and then walk away and expect other people to accept it.
Right.
And you have to have room for other people's opinions.
Exactly.
You have to, because if you're not, then you're just being a jerk.
You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to understand, hey, people have their own opinions, their own backgrounds, their own worldviews, and if you don't take that into consideration,
Right.
then you won't be able to approach them in a way that the Bible says you should.
Exactly.
So,
And
it's
it's just kind of having a posture where it's, okay, we're all coming from different places, different angles, and you say, but we're all looking for what is true. And if
Right.
we're looking for what is true, there is something that is true, and you would say, okay, this is why we believe this is what is true. And if it is true, then that's, then believing something else is not helpful, so it's having that, like we said, a conversation approach, the very or in a way that Brian or C.S. Lewis time to think, help using a different medium to think through, especially some of the more abstract ideas. We do that with music all the time. There's feelings that we have that we can't really understand until we put it into song, and so we're kind of working through some of these questions and ideas through a fictional story, to kind of help with, to process it. It's just, it's all...
And it's very much my own kind of therapy. It's, hey, I'm going through this question. These are questions that, I mean, it's more than just like, why do bad things happen to people? It's specific things.
Right.
Like, how does this work this way? And I'll do research, put it in there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll write the story about it, because to me that's helping me deal with what I'm questioning and what I'm going through, doubts I'm having, and conversations I'm having with people that disagree with me, and all of these things. I'm like, okay, well, let's put it in a comic book form.
Yeah. Is there any aspect of John that was you at some point?
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in different ways. I mean, obviously, I never went on a 6-year journey. But a lot of, I mean, none of it is directly there, but you know, we've all done things we regret, and a lot of that is a weight on his shoulder that I've felt for a long time with just different things, and everybody has them, and that's what he in this moment represents, is that time of my life. So.
Well, and like we were talking about before, how the aspect of Jonathan becoming a hero has nothing to do with his inherent goodness. Like, he's actually not a very good person a lot of the times. But the idea that he, in his mess, is then used in this bigger, you know... Scheme. Yeah, like in this bigger way to ultimately kind of be able to take part in... being the hero, you know, like, it's just,
and pointing to the true heroes of the story, really, you know, like, that's kind of his role in this story, and joining in with them, but not because he was ever good from the beginning, and that's really what he represents.
He just gets kind of invited to take part in this. Again, I don't know. I keep talking in circles now.
That's okay. I actually agree with this. We do 24/7. I actually agree with. There's actually a very big misconception about Christians having to be perfect. We're not perfect.
Right.
We suck most of the time. It's just
that's
about
actually one of
trying
the
to be
biggest
better.
teachings in Christianity is that.
That's why
the problem,
you
is
need
we
Jesus,
suck.
right? Like, that's what it's like. Hey, we suck, therefore, you know, we need someone to come in and fix
We suck.
this
God
mess that we
doesn't,
created.
so we can't be in the same.
Yeah, so this whole idea that you have to be perfect, you have to do the certain things correctly on your own is crap. Yeah. Because you can't.
You're right.
It's definitely not from the Bible.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Right. Well, see, that's one of the things that I always think about. My views aren't going to be someone else's views, and shoving it down their throat isn't going to do any good. So anytime that we do have these conversations that are on, Travis and I, that are on this podcast, we always are very open-minded. Anytime that anyone's on here, and, you know, we've had atheists that we've talked to and all that. Big deal, you know?
Yeah, like some of my best friends are agnostic.
Yeah.
And we have these conversations.
Sorry, that was really funny.
It's a really weird word.
I thought about it. It's like when a racist person says, like, my best friend is black.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I do. No, but
I know that's not how you meant it, but
that's not how I meant it at all. No, but I say that to say, like, we have conversations, yet we are best.
Right.
And we, you know, like, we love the same things, and we talk about so many things, but that difference is there.
Right.
Because I don't think it's about, like, your personal beliefs. It's about your personal journey. You know? Like, everybody's going to come from a different place and have different things happen to them in their lives. Mm-hmm. So it's going to alter what they believe and what they're willing to believe. You can't just force people to do that.
Right,
And
exactly.
forcing someone to believe something isn't going to change anybody's mind.
No.
It's going to make them angry and make them turn away.
Right.
And, you know, the whole point is to love the person for who they are, where they are, build that relationship and that friendship, and then talk about the differences that you have.
100%.
And learn from each other.
Yeah.
And,
It's not about conquering each other. It's about loving and being kind to each other. No matter what each other's opinions are, you know? So, I mean, we did a podcast, what was it? It was about supernatural stuff, like our biggest ghost experiences. And we started, just out of the blue, talking about just little things about our religious aspects. Yeah. And there's so many different layers of being religious. Like, there's being spiritual, there's being this, there's being that, all kinds of stuff. And everybody is on a different journey at a different time. And I don't feel like... Okay, I'm gonna tell this in a story that happened to me. I was actually writing a script, and we were going to put it out as a Christian script. It was like a superhero. It was kind of like Buffy, but a Christian version.
Yeah.
And one of the people that were on the show actually were like, are you ever going to mention God? Are you ever going to, like, do this? I mean, are you going to actually, like, preach to people in it? Are you going to put down, like, actual scripture in it? And I was like, no. And here's why. Because that's force-feeding it. You know what I mean? Like, taking my script and then putting stuff from the actual, like, putting word for word the Bible in there and them reading it and not being at the place where they can absorb it and take it in a place where they're not feeling like they're force-fed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I didn't want to put it in there because I wanted it to have the spiritual tones and the religious aspects, but I didn't want it to be like, hey, I'm going to hammer this in your head that this is what this is about.
Right.
Because even just putting like an angel in something will open up an idea of, oh, well, there's an angel in there. I've heard, some things about angels. Maybe I should go look into that.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, here's everything.
Yeah, and that was the big thing I did not want to do with Memoirs. I will have scripture in there, but a lot of it's going to be, like, I'm going to use Psalms as what it was meant to be. It's poetry.
Right.
And
that's actually my favorite.
Yeah, and it's just like, so I'm going to actually turn a lot of those into, like, a visual poem, and they're going to be in there artistically. They're going to have a purpose. They're going to not just be thrown out there to preach to somebody.
Right,
like, I didn't want this comic to be a sermon.
Right.
I didn't want this. That's not what this is about.
And that's totally what I like.
Yeah, like, I really wanted it to be, especially when we get into more of the biblical stuff. Like, okay, these things are here, and I want to explain as much as I possibly can through these stories.
Yeah.
And just tell the story.
It's very smart because, you can alienate people really easily
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
Especially, like, I'm kind of like that, where, like, if you're force-feeding me scripture and stuff, I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
But, like, if I actually do really like religious horror, like, I think it's interesting, and you can tell a lot of great, scary, interesting stories with that. So, like, if you kind of spin it a different way, it's a better story overall anyway.
And my thought process is stories and storytelling always, kind of present things that we think about the world and about ourselves and about other people. And so, all he's doing with Memoirs is telling a story and using that to, kind of talk about what the truths we find in the Bible, the way the Bible says that the world is, and about ourselves and about other people. And it's just, you can, it's just the way that the world, like, it's a worldview. Like,
kind of like you can take what you want through this. Is that what you mean?
It's more or less presenting what the biblical worldview is.
Oh, okay.
But in a story fashion that doesn't attack,
Yeah.
or alienate specific people. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to present what the Bible is saying through story.
Yeah.
And not be preachy and, obnoxiously rude about it.
Yeah, I agree.
But, create these characters, present this story, and, because for me, I'm the author, this is the most important thing. This is the worldview that I see, and I want people to know about it, and I want to share it, but I don't want it to be used to attack people.
Right,
That's not the goal here,
Yeah.
So yeah, is that what you were getting at?
Yeah, basically I was just saying.
It's hard, like, on the spot when you have something, like, dancing around in your head and you're like, how do I say this?
Yeah.
It's like,
so
hold
many times
on.
we go back and forth and just repeat ourselves on the show.
Yeah.
We're like, I have it in there.
Well,
Right.
I know what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying, like, regardless of whether people realize it or not, when they're telling a story, they're saying things about the world and about themselves and about other people.
Right.
And so we're just being intentional about what we're saying because, the
It's
things that we
important
want
to
to portray is that
Mm-hmm.
we want to portray the things that the Bible says about the world and about us and about other people and ourselves.
In an inclusive way?
Because
Is that
we
what you
believe
mean?
that it's just, that it's important and that ultimately, like, that's what is, I don't know, I'm bad at talking. I'm sorry.
You're not bad at talking at all.
No!
You're not.
You're not bad at talking one
Words
bit.
can be hard.
They can be,
It can
especially...
be hard. You should watch the interviews over again, and I'm just, like, in the background, like...
Don't worry. Seriously. There are some times that, like, I'll start saying something and then mid-sentence what was in my head just went like
Oh
right
my
out
gosh,
the
I
window.
hate when that happens.
Yeah, and you're
'Cause
like,
you
I
know
had a
it was
point.
great.
Yes.
It was profound. It was going to change the world, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's a 24/7 thing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, damn it was good. That's why now, like, you'll see me just sometimes I start to like write down.
Just
I saw you, and I was like, that's so smart. I should do that with life.
She's the note taker.
I'm like, hold on a second, I had an idea that popped up. I
I
should
am
ask
the one
about.
that, like, when she's taking notes, I'll distract with a joke.
And then I'm like, wait, what were we talking about?
I'm the smoke screen, and she's the attack. I'm the smoke screen.
I'm not an attack. I'm just asking questions.
I'm just doing it in ninja terminology.
Oh, I see.
This is a
I see.
podcast about ninjas now.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. But something that I wanted to ask you about, because this is some of the things that are in here, kind of like what you described to me, kind of reminds me of Supernatural, but in like a legit way.
Yeah.
Because Supernatural is like, I'm just gonna throw this in there.
We're gonna take turns going to hell.
I'll tell you what, look, I love the first 5 seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah.
In my opinion, is the best
Yeah.
show ever.
It's really good.
And then season 6 and on, they were like, we're gonna have fun. We don't
Honestly,
care.
Yeah.
when they started like relying too much on angels and stuff,
Yeah.
they started going off the rails.
Well, and then you look at like the, I guess it was McGee, the guy.
McGee, yeah.
McGee was the one that created. Look, I know.
Funny name.
It's kind of boss. I liked it. I was like, oh, well, that's awesome.
McGee.
The first 5 seasons was supposed to be it.
right.
Like he left the show after
Yeah.
season 5, and it was supposed to end with Sam in hell, and that he made that ultimate sacrifice. And,
Yeah.
and I thought,
That would have been
pretty
such
cool.
a cool ending.
It would have been a great ending.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've told my buddies and Robin, like whenever I show our kids that show,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop it when the light flickers.
Yeah.
At the end of that episode before it
Oh,
pans
that's
down
good.
to Sam, I'll be like, oh, it's over.
That's like what Phoebe's mom did. With all the
I was about to say, oh, yeah, what is this, a puppy snuff?
It should be called It's a Sucky Life.
I actually agree with her about that.
More until everyone dies.
I am Phoebe, by the way. I am the Phoebe, 100%. Because, like, if something's really sad,
Do you
I'm like,
remember what I said our cat's name was?
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Yeah.
Phoebe's the best.
Because in The Litter of Kittens, because like I said, I told you before
Is
the
she a
podcast we found her
smelly
mom.
cat?
No, she is not a smelly cat. She's
What are you
adorable.
feeding her?
Nice.
But she is our favorite pet, though. She is our favorite pet. But so I had Phoebe's mom, and she had an appointment to get fixed, and got out one time. That's all it takes.
That's what they told my mom too, for the record.
But so
It's true though. She was a teen mom. Okay.
That's okay. I love your mama, and she's a sweet woman.
so I was there when Phoebe was born, and but there were 4 of them, and the other 3 we came up with names that made sense pretty easily, and we couldn't think of a name for her. I was like, you're just the weird one, and she kind of acted funny too, and we're like, you're just weird. You can't. You're Phoebe.
She just picked up a guitar.
So that's how that happened. Yeah.
Little black curly hair.
It's so good.
That's what she would play as well, because she's got fur. Is she a black cat? Because that would be even better.
She's like kind of calico, black and orange and white.
She would find a black curly hair. That's it.
Pigeon.
Oh.
On my heart.
That's a good one. That's good. They seriously, if Lisa Kudrow had an album out and it was
Oh my
just
God. I
like
would
that,
so buy
Gosh, so it would sell out. Probably.
it
That
would.
be awesome.
It would. She should tour around when she's done with all of her filmy things and the ancestry. Who do you think you are? She can come and play Smelly Cat 15 times in a
Smelly
row,
Cat.
and I will enjoy it each time.
I would also like her to perform as Valerie Cherish from The Comeback. Because if you haven't watched that show, it's amazing.
I
She
haven't.
sings
I
I Will
want to.
Survive at one point, but it's really terrible and off-key, but amazing.
Oh, see, that would just fill me with so much joy.
You should watch it. It's so good. It's only 2 seasons, and it's 10 years apart, literally. They filmed the first season in 2005.
Yeah, and
And
then
they filmed the second season in 2015.
why?
Wow.
Because, they got canceled the first time, but everyone was like, we really like this show.
Was there a petition?
So, no, there wasn't a petition. It was just, HBO was like, this was a really good show. Let's just bring it back.
And then they were like, we're canceling it again.
Yeah.
That is pretty accurate.
But it's good. You should watch it.
I want to watch it. You know what? We're going to end this and watch it.
And we have to watch
find
that
it on the internet.
And
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
And what else did we
I'm
say?
Mad About You.
You.
We have to watch all of them. All of them. It'll be so
your homework.
good.
And we could watch Friends, or I could just recite it.
I could recite it. I'll recite
We
it
could
with
just
you.
do a
It'll be fine.
dramatic reenactment.
I would do it. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Hold on. What's a good spot?
Could I be wearing any more clothes?
I better not do any lunges.
But the cushions are the essence. That's right. I took the essence.
So good.
Oh,
The essence of the chair. Who are you? Who are you in
I'm
Friends?
kind of Chandler-ish, but I'm also a little Joey.
You're like Chandler
Are
and
you
Joey.
Are you like Paul Rudd?
That's what I was going to say.
Maybe. I don't know.
I sounded like a chicken when I said that. Like chicken and turkey.
I actually didn't hear words.
It was, that's what I was about to say.
Right, only dogs can hear you.
That's true. It's true. I need to start
That's another
talking
quote,
softer and more
We're
monotone.
working on a podcast for dogs now.
We are.
Oh my god! And you can do your voice, that mouse voice you did when we were at Scarefest. You had a whole video. It was that one, and I cried laughing. Yeah, it's on our it's on our Instagram at Nerdy 30s Podcast if you want to
Everyone that commented on that was like, "You look really sleepy. Someone needs to go to bed."
We were.
I was super.
We went to
sleepy.
2
Real
cons
life,
in 2 weekends,
real
and we
life.
filmed so much, and we interviewed so many people, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Comic-Cons are exhausting.
They
They
are.
were exhausting,
Yes.
and we were you guys got the luxury of sitting around. We were chasing people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Right, let's be friends. And we're very, 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 very thankful that we got to interview who we got to interview at
I know.
Scarefest. But we had they had strict schedules that they had to do,
Right.
so we had to work around those schedules. So we would be there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. waiting sometimes
But it was
just
fun.
for an interview. It was super fun and seriously very, very thankful because some of the people we got to talk to, you wouldn't expect to get to talk to. So I was like, "Yay!"
That's awesome.
I was like, I love you. One of the ladies, we talked about it before, Amy Allen, I got to talk to her and I love her. I think
Yeah,
she's great.
From
The Dead Files.
Files.
Yeah.
I don't know these shows, so I was the amateur there, and they were like, "Oh."
I
don't
liked
watch
when
my
you.
show.
I liked. He
No.
would do the intros and be like, "Is that what it's called?" I was like, "Yes, it is."
One of them got really offended that I didn't know who they were, and I was like, and we're not going to
No,
say
they
who
made
they
a
were.
joke. They made.
We're
a
not going
joke
to say who
about
they
it.
were because we kind of lost part of their interview anyway. But
Oh yeah. No, that one wasn't a joke.
yeah, they were offended, and
They
I was like,
Well, that wasn't even that. They were just.
they felt a little douchey.
Were they like,
That's
you don't
sad.
know who I am?
I knew who they were.
Yeah.
But it was just a vibe about them.
Yeah.
It was kind of and
Yeah.
they were trying to force feed us that they were really normal people, and they brought it up 3 times, and I was kind of
Really? Isn't it
Yeah.
like when someone tells you they're normal? That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm a normal person.
They're aliens wearing a flesh suit, and they're like, I am a normal human person.
I'm the most down to earth person in the
It's
world.
like Invader Zim.
Clearly. I have many leather-bound books.
Look at my diamonds.
It's like Invader Zim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you literally have green skin. It's like
I'm the
yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh, it's been an hour and 43 minutes.
That's okay. We should wrap it up.
We should.
We get lost. And we
Hey, it was
It's
great
true.
talking to you
It
guys.
was. It was great
really
talking
was.
to you.
Yeah.
So,
Fun times.
Yeah.
It was.
So where can people find you and your stuff?
All right. Well, the biggest two is Facebook and Instagram. You can find me if you look up Brian Rodman or Memoirs of an Angel on Facebook. It pops up. The actual address is facebook.com/Brian BRIAN .Rodman RODMAN .comics with an X instead of exactly. Yeah.
He's straight edge and edgy.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Thank you, because it was getting way too serious.
It was awesome.
And then at Instagram, it's at brodman _comics with an X.
Underscores are my favorite. I put
Yeah,
them on everything.
it's
I'm like,
fun.
underscore!
Yeah.
Underscore.
But also, just to reiterate, next June we'll be having a Kickstarter
Yes.
for Memoirs of an Angel, Book 1, Volume 1.
To make it colorful, guys.
Yeah.
So, and if you check out the Facebook page, he's been posting the
I post up all the
updated
time.
art for the trade, and so you get some previews there.
Yeah, there's actually some side-by-sides of the original issue 1 and then new art that's
What it'll
in
look
color,
like then?
and like some of it's a little different, but the rest of it's the same, just in color. It's pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm having a blast doing this, so it's a lot of fun.
So God.
You can totally come back to re-promote it once it's closer to you.
Hey,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Thanks.
And we'll have Reddit because I'm gonna read this.
Yeah, we'll have read it by then.
Oh yeah, and if you're interested in purchasing the books,
Yeah.
you can get to the online
Obviously.
store.
Yes.
It's on the Facebook page.
On
That's
Facebook,
why
there's a
the
big old blue Shop Now button, and that will take you to our
Great.
online store where you can get any of the issues, and there's also art prints and buttons now. Woo!
I have one on my shirt.
I have one, but I haven't put it on.
I can't see it because of my headphones. It's right here. You can't see it.
Memoirs.
Like looking at the microphone. See? Oh!
You can't see this, but it's on my shirt next to my Midnight Society that glows in the dark. You should get this to glow in the dark. Your little Trinity thing here.
Ooh,
yeah.
that
You
would
should
be
totally
fun.
glow that in the dark.
Oh, speaking of which,
Yeah,
that's her uncle. Been a huge fan and supporter of the series.
Yes.
We have a big print of Etrulia,
The Witch Doctor.
the witch doctor,
Yeah.
and he
creepy.
put it in his room under a black light. It is terrifying.
Oh my goodness! Why would
don't
you want to
you
sleep
use
in the
it?
same room?
You
with
should
that?
use
It's like,
that.
Oh no! Well, yeah, he sent us a
Awesome.
picture. We probably should.
You should totally use
I would-
that. You could make the whole thing where you could look it under a black light and make it even
Ooh, like
creepier.
secret messages in
Yeah.
We'll make like
Yeah.
a special edition.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
sneaky.
that'd be fun.
Do
Ooh, that'd be
it.
cool for
Like a Kickstarter reward,
Yes.
potentially.
Kickstarter, yeah.
I like that.
Like a seasonal Halloween thing or something.
Yeah,
That would be
fun.
so fun. See, that's
See,
why you came
so
on the
what's
show.
the-
Yeah, you guys give us good
Kickstarter.
ideas.
Free, we're like managers. Like,
So, no joke.
I need all the help I can.
I actually do get people emailing me sometimes like, what should I do to promote this? And I'm like, let me tell you. I have an idea. It's going to be great. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much again for coming.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you for having
us.
us.
This was a
Yeah.
blast.
I'm glad that it didn't crash this time.
Woo, I was about
And-
to ask, have you saved?
It hasn't even
need to save really
remotely
quickly.
done anything
we
weird,
need to
so I
wrap it up
haven't messed
before it
with
crashes, just to spite you. We've been recording for like an hour now.
Mid-sentence.
I do think
This
that
one's great.
I do think it was Fry. I think it was my cat that knocked it off because he's been gone and nothing has gone wrong. Fry. It's okay because the interview was great anyway.
It was a great interview.
Even
We
though
got
like
to-
for the first 10 minutes we're like, so we never
thing you
talked about this
understand.
before. We never talked about
Well,
this.
we have like 10 minutes before that we have to tack on to the beginning.
It's
so-
still there.
What did you? Oh, did you fuse it already?
You know I did.
Ooh.
I told you it's a podcast about ninjas.
Yep.
Because she
Magic.
just does
I'm
stuff
such a
without
ninja.
people knowing.
That's exactly what I do. There were moments where I was
Maybe
like,
you can
oh,
be
we've
so ninja
clipped,
you
and I'm
become
like,
a
click, we've not clipped
magic
anymore. For instance, we actually did clip, so I'm just
We
going to poke
just
this.
clipped just now.
Look at this.
See, this is the thing
Fixed
that we
it.
run into is we try to end the podcast 15 times,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just doesn't happen.
It's so true. And we always leave it in because it makes me laugh.
Because it makes us laugh, and it feels more real, you know?
It
Yeah.
does feel real.
But
Yeah, it breaks that fourth
If it
wall
makes
down.
you
so,
laugh,
but-
it might
It
make
makes
other
it,
people
you
laugh.
know,
100% right.
we've always said that, we want you to feel like you're talking to friends and not just like listening to some weird person.
Well, being here
Right.
was definitely just like talking to
Yeah.
friends, so it was a good.
Good.
We actually
like
hate each
talking
other.
to friends. I was gonna say it's not like talking to friends. We are friends.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that just
exactly.
happened. Yeah.
We're hombres.
friends
That's a
bond
man.
just
We're
happened,
amigos.
so-
I always want to say hombres, and I'm like, that's not.
We're men.
Men in tights.
I forgot that was a Spanish word for a second. I was like, hair? Like, ombre hair? Like,
Nope. Actually, I got
colorful
really confused because somebody said that to me the other day, and I was like,
yeah, because your hair is ombre.
yeah.
Because it goes from dark to light.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm confused.
Your hair is man.
My hair's man.
Your hair is a Latin man.
Just did not
You have
understand.
just a... You have a... What's his face on your head? The machete guy.
Oh.
Machete guy?
What?
Yeah, we were gonna interview him, but then we were like, we're scared, and then we didn't.
Oh, you almost interviewed
Yeah,
'cause he's at
Trejo.
Scareface.
Trejo.
Yeah,
Danny Trejo.
Danny
Yeah.
Trejo was at Scarefest.
Oh man.
He took a pee next to Mitch while Mitch was doing.
Didn't you pee next to somebody famous at a Comic-Con?
No, I literally ran into Mike from Comic Book Men.
Oh, I ran into Ming Chin.
We were walking out of the. He was walking out of the restroom. I was walking into the hall or into the restroom, and we collided.
And you ran into him too?
No,
Can that guy not see her?
No, I ran into Ming Chin. We were at. It was one of my first Comic-Con because I never went to a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And we met and we decided to do this comic book thing, and so he's like, we should probably go to a Comic-Con before we start selling things at a
It makes
Comic-Con
sense.
since we've never been.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, yeah, because you've been to a billion of these and I've
Right.
never been. So I don't remember which one. I think it was Lexington.
Lexington,
The first
yeah.
year we went to Lexington. We were walking out and there was a bunch of people walking both directions, and I kind of like bumped shoulders with the guy. You know, it happens. It's a
Yeah.
big crowd. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I turned around and Brian's just like, got this look on his face of like, oh my God. And I was like, what? I said, I'm sorry. Like, what? And he goes, do you know who that was? I was like, babe, I had no idea. And you know it?
Yeah.
And he goes, you know that show Comic Book Men I talk about? And I was like, was that one of them? And he goes, yes. And I was like, oh, sorry, I hit the guy you like.
Oh my God.
She's like, don't wash that shoulder.
Yeah, and my mom, great lady, but
Yeah.
Oh my
like
goodness.
just it's like when she sings and cleans, birds show up and stuff. You know,
Like,
like
she's like a
the,
Disney
Yeah.
legit?
character.
Yeah,
Like,
No,
for
no,
reals?
no. But she
I was
she
really
went-
excited.
She goes to all the shows and she's just so out of place, but she's great.
Yeah.
And she goes up to these people that are celebrities, has no idea who they are,
And just becomes
friends with them.
That's awesome.
Sits
You
there
kind
and
of have the
starts
same
talking
energy
to them.
though.
I
Yeah.
do.
She literally, she went up to, who was the Black Power Ranger?
Zach.
Talked to him for like 45 minutes.
Which one was it, Zach? Or was
Zach.
it Adam?
Yeah, it was Zach.
The funniest part is apparently when she walked up to him and she said, I am mad at you. And he was like, what? Who are, like, what? And she goes, you are the reason why I had to stand in line in Toys R Us parking lot for hours. And he was like, I'm sorry. And then they talked for 45 minutes and became like besties.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Like,
That is
what?
I'm like right down the way in my booth, and I'm going.
And then all of a sudden, I walk over there and I hear her saying, yeah, my son does comics. He's right there. I'm like, oh gosh, we're getting the mom plug right now.
Awesome.
Awesome. He's
Yeah.
actually here. If you
So
want
we were
to
like,
follow me.
we're just going to bring you to all the Comic-Cons and you'll just walk around and like shamelessly
Yeah.
plug us.
That
She's
is
like, okay, I'll
amazing.
do it.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah, no.
I don't even mean to.
Sometimes you don't even mean to, and you completely ignore the celebrity.
Scarefest, and my friend Sandy was at one of the booths. She was one of the security people, and I was like, Sandy! And I went running over to her, and I hugged her, and right next to her is the guy that does the voice
It
for the
was
Tales
John
from the Crypt
Castor.
guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was John Castor's booth, and like the whole time she was just like talking, and she was like, "Sandy, so what's going on, Sandy?" And like he would just like interject every now and then, be like, "Hello, I guess she's the celebrity.
That's actually what he said.
I
and I was like,
do this voice here."
he started talking about the things that he does, and I was like, that's cool.
She's like, "Yeah,
Good for you, man.
And then he goes, you're just saying that. And I was like,
kind of."
I think I know
hello. I'm just happy. I was just like, I know Sandy. I haven't seen her in like 6 months. And I'm
you're
like,
the-
Sandy,
It's like, oh, you're the Crypt Keeper? That's great. You can't sit with us.
get out of here. No, he actually seemed really, really sweet.
He was really nice. And,
Yeah.
like we did talk to him for a while, but like
funny.
I feel like he got his feelings hurt for like half a
Didn't
second.
mean to.
Because he was like, "Yes, I am a celebrity." Thanks.
Travis, I didn't even notice because I was like beelining to Sandy. Travis told me that he looked so happy when someone was coming over to his booth. He was like, yes.
He did, and then like, and
Finally.
then it was like when you see like somebody like
Wave.
think something. Yes, somebody waves at you, but then like they're waving at the person behind you.
Yeah.
I never want to have to explain
so
to someone
sad.
that you're famous.
Yeah.
I felt bad.
Yeah, well, if you're the voice actor, no one knows what you look
no.
like.
Exactly.
Well, he was
That's
also
right.
pointing out. He was like, "I was in this movie.
I
Here's my
was in
headshot
this
from this movie."
He was pointing it all out, and I was like,
guy.
I actually really liked that movie, so I made sure to be
Yeah.
like, that's a good movie. You did a good job in it.
So
And then I was
John
like,
Castor, if you're listening,
So-
we didn't mean to like Snub you.
I just really love Sandy. We're pen pals. We talk to each other all the time. And I don't get to see her very often because she lives probably like 2 hours away. So I'm like, Sandy!
Oh,
I'm sorry.
He knows that you're like, oh, Sandy!
Yeah.
He's experienced that.
He completely
He
understands.
probably requested a new bunkmate after that. It's just like, she's taking on my fans.
It's not Sandy's fault. She's so cool. She's just awesome. There was a girl that came up to her booth later that was wearing like a clown mask and stuff, like clown makeup, not a mask. And she was like, "Oh, hi, Erin!" and talking to her and like befriending her and taking pictures with her. She thought it was me. It wasn't me. So John Kessler probably thought that I came back to torment him more.
In a clown mask this time. He's just going full on American Horror Story, just like, I'm back, John.
This is after I became a villain. I fell into like an acid vat, and I was like,
You have a permanent smile on your face now.
that's
Yeah.
the Joker. In case anyone was wondering.
So we've been recording for 2 hours. We should end.
An hour and 55 minutes. Excuse me.
Well, we can give extra time because it was an interview podcast.
That's true. This is a special
So it's a
podcast that's
special-
longer
Special.
than
It's a
normal.
special mega episode.
Yeah. Well, that's it for Hair Rising Time here at the Nerdy 30s.
That was not John Casser.
Thanks for tuning. It was Sandy. Thanks for tuning
Casser
in.
refuses to work with us now.
Sandy's okay with it though, because I love you, Sandy. We love you, Sandy.
Oh, Sandy.
Yes, we do. Is anybody Grease?
Grease,
Yeah.
that's
Everyone
what I was
good.
going with, yeah.
Everyone went there.
That's
All
what I
right,
was
guys. So we're gonna wrap it up because we'll continue to talk about
follow
Grease.
on our Facebooks and stuff.
Yeah, like us, rate us,
Nerd
check
Daddy's
out these
podcast.
awesome books. Like, you gotta look at them; they're neat. Like all the drawings in them, I really like, and the storyline makes me excited. So seriously, check out Memoirs of an Angel. And it's not like City of Angels.
No.
Or Memoirs, or Memoirs of a Geisha.
No, it's not like that either.
Neither of
No, it's
those.
not. But whenever I do like the hashtag on Twitter,
He
it
goes
always
straight
comes
to
up. I'm like,
Memoirs
it's
of
not
Geisha.
Geisha.
It's not the case. So should I
You should tag it and
listen?
get more people.
Should I listen to Sarah McLachlan while I read this?
Oh yeah. It enhances the experience.
You're like, I wrote this with that in mind.
She just shows up with a guitar and a donation jar from like the
puppies.
ASPCA.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna listen to that and read this. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye. Goodbye.